tonight. So these 4 teams that are in the top 4 of Sub-Region A, they're all playing each other tonight.
Absolutely.
So this is going to be a gigantic game for Darlington. I'm sorry the weather's like it is, or we'd have a big crowd out here, but we're glad to have you with you. Okay.
No question about it, Steve. And, you know, the whole deal is everybody's dealing with the same conditions. And it definitely factors in when you get to this part of the season and you know where you are in the standings and things of that nature. You know the gravity of the situation, and I think that's where Darlington's maturity comes into play here, and we've seen that time and time again throughout the season. You think back to that Christian Heritage game where they really had to step up and overcome a lot in the fourth quarter to win. I think we're going to see that maturity pop up in this game quite a bit. And they're going to have to play their own on their A game for sure.
Well, Matt, I'm glad you bring up Christian Heritage because that was a game the Tigers had to come back twice in that game, and one of those times was after it appeared the Tigers had gotten the momentum in that game and then got behind and had to come back on a drive that also included a holding penalty. So the Tigers had a 1st and 20 they had to overcome in that particular game. Okay, captains for tonight. And then we'll get back in our final moments to a little bit more about standings. Captains Tate Ratledge, Griffin Brewster, Frank Manning, and Tristan Wright for the Darlington Tigers. And for the Bowdon Red Devils, Trajan Bodie. We did verify that. Bodie, number 2. Cameron Holloway, number 33. Cooper Smith, number 54. They will be the captains for the Bowdon Red Devils. Darlington will receive to open the game, so Bowdon will receive the second half kickoff, and that will come into play with strategy later on. Matt, the other thing that we will mention about the power rankings as we go forward and how critical it is to win your region is that, excuse me, a region winner has to go above a non-region winner in the power rankings. So Elka right now is number 1 in the power rankings, but if Holy Innocents wins out because they beat Elka, number 1 in the power rankings, is going to drop down below all region winners. And if Darlington could win the region with Holy Innocents where they are in the power rankings, it's possible the Tigers could get the number 1 seat in the entire state. But you got to start tonight with the Red Devils.
There's really only one thing you can do, and that's get out on the field and focus on the game and take care of business, and all the other stuff will take care of itself the way that it's supposed to shake out. And I know that that's one thing that Tommy Athan and his coaching staff been preaching all season with this team is like, look, we're going to tune out everything else except for one thing, and that is taking it one play at a time and try to win football games. And they've been able to do that, and hopefully they got a couple more in them so they can finish at the top. That'd be fantastic to see them have an undefeated regular season.
Sure would, and the last undefeated regular season was 2015, team led by Hunter Manning. And, they had a great year. Okay, we're about ready for high school football. This is going to be a slobber knocker. This is going to be people punching each other in the mouth. So you better get your chin straps buckled wherever you are. Get your seat belts buckled because this is going to be a big one for the Darlington Tigers.
As they like to say, we ready.
We're ready. All right, Darlington. Going right to left on your radio dial, purple jerseys, white numerals, white pants, white helmets with purple tiger paws, and the Bowdon Red Devils, red pants, white jerseys, red numerals. They have a big B on the side of a white helmet. They'll be going left to right. They'll be defending the goal in front of the concession stand where you can get blow pops and you can get hamburgers and hot dogs, Coca-Colas, and lots of great stuff. Darlington will be defending the goal in front of the Huffman Athletic Center. Okay, here we go. Toe meets leather, and it's going to be a kick that hits the ground, and it's bounding backwards, and it's scooped up by one of the up men, and he's at the 35, and he's out to about the 38-yard line, and I believe that was Tristan Wright.
You believe correct. Tristan Wright, who was the Honeymoon Bakery icing on the cake player of the game last week. Something tells me he enjoyed his prize with that return, Steve.
Absolutely. And, Matt, he did exactly what you're supposed to do. He scooped up the ball, ran straight upfield. So the Tigers will scrimmage from their own 39. Ball is about 5 yards inside the near hash. We do not have a clock that we can see what the time is. There's a malfunction. So Griffin Brewster under center, man in motion, comes right to left. Hampton Watkins, and he is stopped, and then Colin Rogers, he's going to take the handoff, and he's going to be out to about the 46-yard line, straight up behind Cade Brock. That's a good guy to follow, Matt.
Yeah, and it looks like on the clock, Steve, that one digit is missing towards the end, and so I think we're going to be able to tell somewhat what the time is, but we get down into single digits, that's when we're in trouble.
All right, 2nd and 4 for the Tigers at about the 45. Hand off to Colin Rogers, 50, 45. They both throw over the umpire, Matt, but it's going to be a 1st and 10 for Darlington at the 44 of the Red Devils.
Yeah, not surprised seeing Darlington coming out running Colin Rogers, seeing what they can get there. They don't want to be too risky. It is not raining very hard right now, but it's still pretty slick, and they're going to be dealing with a wet ball. So it's good to see them having some success in the running game early.
Matt, if this is what is Darlington, if you're a Darlington fan, this is what you want to see. Bowdon with 4 down lineman, linebacker coming up, handoff to Colin Rogers. Colin Rogers, he got past one guy who slipped off of him, and he's going to be down inside the 42, down to about the 41. Not much there, but a tackler just slipped off of his leg, gain of 3.
Well, I can tell you this, Steve. In the paper today, they said that Colin Rogers has 999 yards coming in this game, and even I can do the math on that. Darlington has a 1,000-plus yard rusher this season.
Yeah, 2nd season in a row that he's hit the 1,000-yard mark. Darlington with men bunched in together. Tyler Watkins, quick pitch to Colin Rogers, and the blocking broke down. He gained about 2, down to about the 39.5-yard line, but they're going to put it right smack dab on the 40. The Tigers are going to have a 3rd and 6.
They've been running Colin up the middle this time. They pop him out to the edge and see if they can get some room on the outside, but the speed of Bowdon's defense closed off the running lane, and he was not able to get much out of that play.
Well, Bowdon has good speed at the linebacker and defensive back positions, so the Tigers are going to have their hands full moving the football tonight. Griffin Brewster in a shotgun, 2 wide outs to either side. He's looking downfield. He's looking, throw in, complete.
Ooh.
Boy, complete to a man at the 31. I don't know who that was, but he had a man draped on him, and that's Patrick Shelley for his first catch of the night. 1st down for Darlington.
Well, he threaded the needle on that one, talking about Griffin Brewster. And when they came down, I was wondering who was coming up with it, him or the defender that was on him, but it was Patrick Shelley.
Great throw by Brewster. Darlington 1st and 10. Brewster back to throw. He's going to throw on a quick screen. Tristan Wright sidesteps man at the 35 inside the 30. He's going to be touchdown. Whoa, no, they're going to tackle him at the 1. Boy, man, he just popped out of there and flew to the far corner and almost made it into the end zone on just a quick bubble screen. 1st and goal for Darlington.
That ends up being a 29-yard play there for Tristan Wright, who really had a fantastic game last week up at Trine, and that is carrying over to this game. Look at this offense, Steve, and the different things they're doing on this drive. It's very exciting.
Boy, great play by Griffin Brewster and Tristan Wright. 1st and goal. It looks like it's at about the 3. Hand off to Colin Rogers, and he just dances into the end zone, and that's going to be a 3-yard touchdown run by Colin Rogers. He's lifted up by one of his linemen, and he's got 6 points. He leads the area in touchdowns, Matt, and he adds another one to his yearly total.
Yes, he does. And one of the things that was most exciting about that, did you see how fired up Griffin Brewster was when Colin Rogers went into the end zone? This team is playing with a ton of enthusiasm and intensity. What a great first drive to start the game.
Yeah, a great drive. Everybody really enthusiastic, like you said. Manning going to hold for Sumner. And here we go. Here's the snap. It's down. It is up. It is through. And this is going to make it 7-0. So Darlington on its opening drive, a 61-yard touchdown drive for the Tigers. And Darlington up 7-0. We'll send it back to WLAQ for a 30-second break. Don't unbuckle those chin straps. We'll be right back. Oh, back at Jerry Sharp Field, Chris Hunter Stadium, the Tigers have struck already in a drive that took about 2.5 minutes, a little over 2.5 minutes. Colin Rogers gets his 18th touchdown of the season on a 3-yard touchdown run. Brinson Sumner has it teed up for the Tigers. Two men deep for the Bowdon Red Devils. Toe meets leather. High end over end kick. It's going to come down to a man on the near side at the 15. He's running sideways, and now he turns upfield, and Frank Manning makes a tackle at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, still not a bad return there by Gage Stevens, and that's why we've been hearing so much about him. He can really move, and the Tigers did a good job of not letting him get anything really huge, but they're still going to have good field position.
Matt, you can't say enough about Richard Finley's job this year. There's a flag down, and Darlington is walking backwards, so I think it's going to be against the Tigers. But, Matt, you can't say enough about the job Coach Richard Finley has done for Bowdon this year. 3 consecutive 1-9 seasons that he's had, 1 at Bowdon, then he had 2 at a prior job. But he's turned this team around, and they are really, really playing well this year.
And, you know, he's been in a lot of different schools as a strength and conditioning coach and a defensive coordinator, and now he's back as a head coach, and like you say, he's making the most of it.
Okay, we have offsetting personal fouls against Bowdon and Darlington. They're not unsportsmanlike conduct fouls, so that's good. And the reason is, ladies and gentlemen, unsportsmanlike conduct fouls, players can get ejected after 2 unsportsmanlike conduct fouls. Okay, McNeil under center. Gage Stevens at the tail. And he's off on the left side, and he just keeps his legs moving. Actually, that was one of his blockers that, he did. He got stopped forward progress. That was strange, Matt, the way he came out of that pile. But he's going to have a gain, or he doesn't. He doesn't have a gain at all.
Wow. That was strange.
That was a strange play. We were trying to look at it on our instant replay monitor here, and but that was an odd-looking play.
It truly was. I thought he was going to break loose and perhaps get a decent run, but then they blew it dead, so I'm not sure exactly what happened on that play.
Yeah, because he comes out of it. All right, 2nd down and 10. The freshman McNeil under center. Quick pitch to Stevens, and the ball is blown dead.
There's a flag.
That's usually an illegal procedure, and it is. So Bowdon is starting out, Matt, not looking too sharp. They may be a little stunned by that touchdown drive the Tigers had.
Oh, it was a fantastic drive and exactly how you want to get off to a quick start in this football game. Get in your opponent's head, and it was a really clean drive considering this poor weather that we've had all day.
All right, it's going to be 2nd down and 15. The line to make is just outside the 40-yard line. McNeil under center, hands off to the fullback, and he tiptoes his way into the middle of the Darlington line, keeps his legs moving. Really nice run. Not a whole lot of running room there, and he's got a gain of about 6.
Yeah, pretty decent pickup, but they're still behind schedule in terms of the chain, so they've got a 3rd and very long situation here. So Darlington's defense really needing to pin their ears back here, get a stop, and keep that momentum on their side and try to put together another nice drive.
3rd and about 9.5, and McNeil can throw the ball very well. He's going to be in a shotgun formation with Stevens to his right, wide out to either side with a tight end on the left. Darlington shifting around McNeil. He's looking to his left. He's got pressure on him. He's going to throw the ball incomplete. Fortson had a lot of running room and just dropped the ball. He came into the middle of the field, Matt, and nobody was there.
It looked like a nice throw. He had his hands on it. I think that one's on the wide receiver, not to pick on him, but that's one of those ones that he's kind of kicking himself right now, Steve.
And, you know, these guys, they know.
They know. Absolutely.
You know, they're still young men, but they know they've been out there playing. This is going to be punting situation for the Bowdon Red Devils, 3 and out for them. Darlington with Wright and Shelley back deep. Darlington with some pressure. High spiral kick. Shelley drops it, and he falls on it as it rolls backwards inside the 30. Matt, he really had some running room if he could have fielded that cleanly, but he didn't, and alas, we'll be back at the 28.
Yeah, at the very least, you're glad that he was able to cover that and make sure you didn't have a special teams disaster there. You hate the missed opportunity because they could have had better field position, but they just got to get out there and move on to the next play.
All right, we want to give a shout-out to Will Enlow tonight. Will has a difficult time getting out to the games, and so we know he's listening on all the games every Friday night. Will, glad to have you with us tonight, a big supporter of Darlington football. All right, Griffin Brewster in a shotgun. Man in motion, right and left is Hampton Watkins. Handoff to Colin Rogers. He spins at the 30, and he is going to be wrestled down, literally wrestled down, at the 34-yard line for a gain of about 6.
Absolutely. I have a shout-out as well. I want to say hello to Corbin Kugler. He is the nephew of our buddy Dave up there doing the video. I met him at the Falcons game over the weekend, and he is a big Darlington football fan, a Falcons fan. He's a Julio Jones fan. He loves Tate Ratledge and all the Darlington Tigers. So just want to say hello to Corbin if you're watching. It was nice to meet you, and hope to see you again sometime.
And we can't thank Dave enough for what he does on the live stream. Boy, he does a great job up there, and he's up there in the rain tonight, and we're not. All right, man in motion, right to left. Griffin Brewster, Colin Rogers, and he breaks to the left, Matt, and he's about a yard shy of a first down. Colin Rogers, the workhorse tonight, and I guess he's just said, hand me the ball, guys, and I'm ready to go.
Absolutely. We've seen him run the ball a lot in this football game, but on that last drive, they started the drive with runs with Colin Rogers, and they ended it with some passing plays that got them close to the goal line, so they're mixing it up. It'll be interesting to see what they do on this next play.
All right, Darlington switching people in and out right now. And the Tigers have it's a first down, so it's 1st and 10 at their own 38-yard line. Griffin Brewster in a shotgun formation, 2 wide outs to either side, hand it to Colin Rogers, and it's a 40, 30, 45, 50. Whoa. Boy, what a hit out there with Gage Stevens, but Colin Rogers, Matt, he hit the sideline fast and turned it upfield. First down.
Yes, he did. Another big run by Colin Rogers, and we talked in the pregame, Steve, about the importance of Colin having a big game tonight, and so far the Darlington Tigers are really turning it up with him, and he is playing outstanding.
Brent Bell does love the short side of the field, Matt. And, you know, you have fewer defenders typically on the short side, and you got these 2 receivers, and they'll take those defensive backs downfield. Hampton Watkins in motion left to right. Griffin Brewster fakes to Watkins and Rogers. Oh, man, almost has him, but he's running 40, 35, and he leaps, and he's knocked out of bounds. Great play by Griffin Brewster. He faked it to 2 people, then had a man on him and escaped him, Matt.
Yeah, and you know what, Steve? That's not something that we see him do a lot because that's not really where he shines the most, but it's not because he can't. They're trying to protect him, obviously, but if he needs to run, you can see something like that happen like we just did.
Well, you got a lot of guys who've won the Honeymoon Bakery Icing on the Cake Player of the Game that must like those cupcakes because they sure are playing hard tonight. Griffin Brewster, he's going to throw complete to Colin Rogers out here on a little swing pass, and Colin Rogers is going to be down inside the 35. Let's see where they mark it. Tigers marching again, up 7-0 with about 5 minutes and 10 seconds to play here in the first quarter.
Yeah, and Steve, they look really dialed in so far in this football game, and you can tell by looking at the body language on the Bowdon Red Devils, they are not getting what they expected in this game so far from the Darlington Tigers, and this is exciting to watch.
All right, Tigers with a 2nd down and about 8. The ball at the 34 of the Red Devils on the near hash, and that's Tyler Watkins in motion right to left, and now there's a flag down, illegal procedure going to be called against Darlington, so the Tigers will be backed up 5 yards. I believe that's the first penalty of the night for the Tigers.
I believe it is also, Steve, and that's one of those things where you got a good drive going and you hate to see a procedural, mental-type penalty take place and slow your rhythm down, and let's see if Darlington can rebound from that and get this drive back in the right direction.
All right, Tigers up 7-0. If you're just joining us, took the opening kickoff on a 61-yard touchdown drive, capped off by the 18th touchdown of the campaign for Colin Rogers, boy, he's been a workhorse tonight.
Oh, absolutely he has, and he's going to be flanked to the right of Brewster for this next play.
2 wide outs to either side. Ball on the near hash. Griffin Brewster looks to his left, now to his right. Left, and Patrick Shelley, and he's caught the ball, stays on his feet, and he's going to be down the sideline. Matt, I think he got a touchdown. Yes, he did. There's a late flag that comes in. Patrick Shelley, he caught the ball, Matt, on the near side. Griffin looked to his right, then to his left, and I think this is going to be called back. But what a great run, tiptoeing down the near sideline, Matt. Trying to see where the flag is on our instant replay.
It's about the 30 or the 20-yard line, it looks like.
Yeah, let's see where it is. It's going to be holding.
19.
So they're going to count it from the 19. That'd put it back to the 29, which will take away the first down and the touchdown, but the Tigers will have a more manageable third down. Excuse me, it'll be a second down. So it's going to be second down and about 3.5 or 4 from here.
And, Steve, it looks like the rain's holding off for the most part right now. Might be drizzling a little bit, but barely enough to see if it is.
You know, when we looked at the weather earlier, it looked like there was going to be a little window with no rain, and we really have had a slacking off of it since earlier in the day. All right, Griffin Brewster in a shotgun. Bowdon moving linebackers around. Colin Rogers to the near side, 20, 15, and wow, Matt, if you go back and look at it, the linebackers for Bowdon were shifting to the left, and Colin ran to the opposite side. He actually ran away from where they were shifting to, and Darlington got Bowdon outmanned on that side.
Yeah, they really did. And, of course, we talk about Colin Rogers and what a great game he's having so far, but a lot of that has to do with the guys that are out there blocking and creating the seams and places for him to go. So kudos to him, but also kudos to his team for getting him going.
Absolutely. You know, when you got people like Tate and Cade, and we'll name the other linemen that are in there, it makes a huge difference. 1st and 10 for the Tigers at the 12 of the Red Devils. Colin Rogers up the middle. Colin Rogers touchdown. Wow, Matt. He got past the first line, and then he just strolled into the end zone that time on a 12-yard touchdown run. Second touchdown of the night, 19th of the season. And Colin Rogers is putting on a show here.
Oh, he certainly is, and we're going to see Brenton Sumner come out here in just a moment and try to tack on the extra point. He was 5 for 5 last week, hit a pretty decent field goal in that game, and he's been a big part of this team's success, Steve.
Matt, you know, kicking game, Vince Dooley used to say the kicking game would be worth 1 to 2 victories per year. And so, you know, when you have a good kicking game, you can cover up a lot of things. Sumner, the ball's down, it's up, it's good, and that's going to be his perfect season continuing on points after.
Absolutely. Right. And a good snap right there by Mason McKenzie. We also want to mention that as well, and a hold from Frank Manning.
Yeah, 29 of 29, Matt, on extra points this year for Brenton Sumner. And, you know, it's just one of those things. You cannot overestimate the power of special teams.
You don't. We spent a good portion of our pregame talking about that, Steve, and you really can't emphasize it enough. And I think that the teams that you see be successful for long periods of time, like teams like Darlington, that's something they put a special emphasis in. Pardon the pun there, talking about special teams. And that's something that, you know, Tommy Atha, he works with, and his coaches work with his team every week on. They spend a good amount of time on it.
All right, Darlington 14, Red Devils 0, with about 3:50 left to play here in the first quarter. Darlington scoring on both of their possessions thus far of the night, and on that particular drive had a touchdown called back, and the Tigers overcame that. And, Matt, that is a huge thing from a morale standpoint. When you have a touchdown taken off the board, but you then come back and score a touchdown, it really lifts a team up.
Yeah, how many times have we seen it go the other way in games? So that's a very good point.
All right, high end over end kick. It's not very deep. It's going to bounce at the 21, and Bowdon man takes it, runs straight up field. He's going to be tackled at about the 40-yard line, and the Red Devils will scrimmage with good field position for their second possession of the night.
Oh, absolutely. And Forston, you got to tip your cap to him. He did exactly what the coaches would tell you to do. As you mentioned, he turned it upfield and didn't try to dance around. He just got to work and got good field position for his team. So the defense has some work to do with that field position.
And if you're Bowdon, it's kind of like Yogi Berra said, it's deja vu all over again because they got down to Christian Heritage 14-0 real quickly last week, and then it was 21-0 before they were able to score. So, they really want to get some scoring here. Hand off to the fullback, and he's going to be into the middle of the line, and he's going to be swamped right there, gain of about 2.
Absolutely. And, Steve, whenever you have a team that has a quarterback like Griffin Brewster and a bunch of wide receivers they can throw to averaging 38 points a game, I guess it can kind of be easy for the defense to get overshadowed a little bit. But let's face it, this Darlington defense has been stingy. They're giving up less than 10 points a game, and they've been unbelievable.
Well, they have been, and consistency is what Darlington strives for. 3-down lineman with Dawson Williams out here. Gage Stevens dances through the line, and he's going to be out for first down yardage into Darlington territory at about the 48-yard line, and that's why he's so dangerous, Matt.
Absolutely, and you also have to give a lot of credit on that run to the offensive line for creating the spacing that he needed to find a seam to get that run going. And that's one of the things that Coach Atha talked about this week was the size and physicality of this line, and he feels like this is probably going to be one of the most physical lines that they've faced throughout the year.
All right, big series for both teams now. Stevens, he takes the ball on a handoff, and he is going to wiggle his way out or down to about the 45-yard line. Big series because Bowdon can score. They're back in the game. If they can't and have to turn this ball over and Darlington can drive it again, it could really be very difficult for Bowdon to get back into the game. No
question. This is a very, very big drive, as you mentioned. And, Darlington's gotten off to a quick start, but we're still so early in the game that, a drive here and a score for Bowdon and everything looks totally different.
All right, 14-0 Tigers. McLean under center, hands off to the tail. That's Stevens trying to get to the sideline, and he danced, and finally he got knocked down by Forsha. Actually, Forsha grabbed his foot, I think, and he's going to have a gain, Matt, of about 2, so it'll be third down, and we'll make it 5 for the Red Devils.
Yeah, a couple of runs there in a row, and we're seeing a lot of carries for Gage Stevens, and we talked about that pregame, Steve. He gets the rock quite a bit.
All right, McLean in a shotgun. Darlington's going to be called for offside. Encroachment by Forsha, and that'll give first down yardage, I believe, to Bowdon. Let's see where they put it. It's going to be close. It will be a first down. So the Tigers give up a first down on a penalty, and now the ball's at the 37-yard line on the near hash. So McNeil, the quarterback, he's looking over to the sidelines. And Matt, they run a bunch of different formations. They run out of the spread, they run the I, they'll run a wing T formation. McNeil back to throw. He's going to throw the ball complete to a man over the outstretched arms of a Darlington defender, and that's going to be a gain of 7 to the 30.
That wide receiver is Colton Drummond, and he's somebody that we didn't talk about a tremendous amount in the pregame, and passing is not really this team's forte, but every now and then they'll get somebody open and pop a pass like that and kind of catch the defense a little flat-footed.
Second down and about 4 for the Red Devils. They trail 14-0 with under a minute to play here in the first quarter, and this is their deepest penetration of the night to the Darlington 30-yard line. Somebody needs to step up. And here we go, McNeil. He's going to run on a quarterback keeper out to the left, and he is going to be knocked down shy of the first down marker. And that was a quarterback keeper from the very beginning. He's going to be down at about the 28-yard line. Let's see where they put it down.
And I think it was number 6, Gage Stevens, that sprung the block that got him going on that particular play. And it was a good block that got them some yards.
Third and short for Bowdon. And, Matt, as I look at their linemen, they've got a lot of really big linemen on their offensive line. So this is a very beefy Bowdon line. 3rd down and 1. McNeil is going to be under center. He's going to hand it to the fullback who runs straight through a hole off the center, and he's going to be down to about the 22, and that'll be a 1st down for the Red Devils.
Yeah, that was Cameron Buchanan, and you're right, Steve. That is certainly one of the battles that we're watching unfold in this football game, is watching those offensive and defensive lines match up, and this is a team that has some pretty decent size, as you point out. Darlington hadn't seen this much this season so far.
All right, Darlington up 14-0. 20 seconds left here in the 1st quarter. Bowdon's not in any hurry, so I'm not sure they're going to get the ball snapped. The play clock and the quarter clock are at about the same. They're looking over to the sidelines. About 7 seconds left. They're not in any hurry, and I think they're going to let the quarter run out. So that's the end of the 1st quarter. Darlington 14, Bowdon nothing. We're going to send it back to WLAQ for a 30-second break and then come back for the 2nd quarter. Don't go away. We'll be right back on WLAQ. All right, we're back at Jerry Sharp Field, Chris Hunter Stadium on a cool, moist night. It stopped raining, Matt, and the Tigers up 14-0. Colin Rogers unofficially 78 yards in the 1st quarter, so that puts him at 1,077 yards for the 2019 season.
Absolutely, which is phenomenal. And, this is a season where they are certainly relying on him a lot, but he's probably, and I don't have the statistic, probably not getting quite as many carries, I would guess, than he was last year. And I think he's actually getting more yardage on plays than maybe he was last year, because he is gashing teams when he gets the football in a lot of cases. So this has been a big game for him so far.
It has been. Darlington 7 first downs in the 1st quarter. Bowdon has 3.
Wow.
So Bowdon's moving the ball, their first possession of the night that they've gotten into Darlington territory. Man in motion, he was moving. That's going to be an illegal motion, illegal shift, I think, on Bowdon. Oddly enough, Gage Stevens, he can move. He started moving, and then he just stopped and looked backwards, and I don't know what happened then, because there's no penalty flag down. So who knows? Maybe they give him a mulligan of some sort.
Is that a thing?
Well, I've never known it to be a thing, but, it's almost like, son, yeah, you made a mistake, but we're not going to hold it against you. Y'all can do it again. I formation, handoff to Gage Stevens, who's the tail. And, Matt, that was one where he just put his head down and went into a pile. Looked like he could have gotten some running room on the outside, although on replay, Patrick Shelley was standing out there. So, gain of about 2, ball on the 20-yard line. Tigers up by 14 if you're just joining us. 2 touchdowns in the 1st quarter. And Gage Stevens, he's for real. He's done a great job, but so has Robert McNeil, who is the quarterback for Bowdon. He's a freshman, and he's done a great job, too. McNeil rolling to his right, looking downfield. Tate Ratledge is coming his way. He throws the ball, almost intercepted, and a flag is down. Oh. And our executive producer tells us this is going to be pass interference. against Darlington for tackling the receiver before the ball got there. That's illegal.
Yeah, you can't do that, that's for sure. And it's unfortunate, too, because it was good coverage on the play. You had 3 or 4 defenders around the receiver, and unfortunately it turns into a penalty for Darlington.
Well, let's see what's going on because they're talking about this. I wonder if we have offsetting penalties, Matt, because they're not moving the ball. Pass interference against Darlington, and that's declined. Holding against, roughing the passer. So Tate did a little bit of what he shouldn't have been doing over there on the sideline. Now let's see how they're going to do this. They declined the pass interference. They're accepting the roughing the passer. And that's going to be half the distance to the goal. So this will make it 1st and goal, or is it going to be 1st and 10 just outside the 10-yard line? I guess that's what it is, maybe at the 11. So it'll be 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line for Bowdon. McNeil, he's going to hand the ball to Stevens. Stevens is going to run it to the right side, and he is going to be swamped. Looked like a rugby scrum over there. Now, I was looking at something else. I wasn't sure if he came from a wing spot or from – yeah, he did. He came from his left wing back slot.
Well, Steve, that's one of those situations where, we talk about turnovers and things like that, but also penalties, and that was a big one. And so hopefully that's not one of those things you look back at the end of the game and see that as a part of the story that works against you.
Yeah, just mental mistakes. Mental mistakes make a big deal. 2nd down and 8. The ball is right on the 10-yard line, just inside the 10. I formation, hand off to the fullback. He's got some running room, and then he's grabbed by a man. That's Dawson Williams grabbed him and held him. And so he's going to have a gain down to about the 5, I believe. Let's see where they mark it.
Yeah, that was a great play, like you mentioned, by Dawson Williams. And he had 3 or 4 guys that were in there as reinforcement, and they did a good job of plugging that gap up the middle and not letting the big fullback get through.
All right, I thought he got farther than that. They're marking it at the 7. So this is going to be a 3rd down, about 6 for Bowdon inside the Darlington 10. About 9 minutes and 40 seconds left to play here in the first half. Remember, Bowdon gets the ball to start the second half. This is a big play. McNeil in a shotgun formation, and he's going to take the ball trying to run to the outside. He's going to be knocked out of bounds, well short of the line to make. Matt, I think he even lost a yard or 2.
And there's also some laundry on the field as well that was thrown quite early in the play.
And normally that would be a holding penalty against the offense. It's going to be an illegal shift against Bowdon. Let's see what Tommy Atha wants to do. If he declines the penalty, it'll be 4th down. It is going to be declined. So it's going to be 4th down, Matt, and about 6 for a 1st down and about 7 for a touchdown.
Well, this is one of those situations where hopefully, you've seen some penalties work against Darlington on this drive, but there's one that's working against Bowdon. So let's see if Darlington can get a stop here.
I think Bowdon's going to reach for a field goal, Matt. And I believe this will be Charlie Bell. Charlie Bell, they're putting the ball down at about the 15-yard line. It's on the far hash, so he's going to have to hook it to his left. This will be a 25-yard field goal attempt for the Red Devils. The ball's down. It is up. Blocked. Tate Ratledge. He got in there, man. I don't know if he's the one who blocked it, but he certainly was in there. Let's see. Here's the replay. Yeah, Tate got his big paw up there, and Darlington has turned the Red Devils away, and that's a huge play, Matt.
It's a massive play. The fact that Bowdon had a couple of gifts there on penalties there from Darlington, and then they went for a 25-yard field goal, come up empty, that is one of those situations that can absolutely kill your spirit. And for Darlington, the way to answer that is get that ball back and put together a nice drive and go up by 3 scores.
Matt, the antidote for every problem. Get the ball and score.
That's right. That's right.
That's what you do. Great analysis, Matt, on that. It does swing things back and forth, and like you said, it's big momentum play.
Oh, no question about it.
All right, the body language of the Bowdon players indicates that they're very frustrated right now. 9:20 to play here in the first half. Tigers up 14-0. Griffin Brewster under center. Single setback is Colin Rogers. Man in motion, Tyler Watkins. Colin Rogers coming to this side, and he slips off of a tackle, and he's going to be out to about the 23-yard line, and he's going to have that gain of about 3.
Yeah, pretty basic play there to start this series and get a few yards there, stay on schedule with the chain. So pretty decent play. I think they were hoping to get a little bit more out of that one, but let's see what they dial up on second down.
Matt, great block by Aiden Langford over here at his right tackle spot on that play. Colin Rogers to this side. He's going to cut it upfield. He's going to be close to the 30-yard line. And right now, this is the Colin Rogers I'm going to bash you show.
Oh, no question about it. He has toted the mail quite a bit in this game so far. It's been very effective, so you got to feel like as long as that is the case, they're going to stick with it. But there's no question that there's going to be some wrinkles in there with Brent Bell and the coaching staff to kind of catch the defense flat-footed. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, you look at the body language of the Bowdon defensive backs right now, and they're a little dejected. This is going to be a third down and about 1. Griffin Brewster, he's going to take the ball, try to get out for a first down on a quarterback sneak, and where the referee on this side is marking it, it will be a first down for the Darlington Tigers, Matt.
Absolutely. Griffin Brewster, again, with a run and getting the yardage he needs to get a first down and get the ball moving here for the Darlington Tigers, up 14-0. We're almost done with the first half here in a few minutes.
Yeah, 8 minutes to go. It's been a fast half, Matt. We haven't heard a train in a while. We're about ready for one, aren't we?
Absolutely, and I noticed on the screen earlier they have a graphic on the Jumbotron, and when a train goes by, they put it up there and say what number it is.
All right, Griffin Brewster in a shotgun. Looks to his left. He's going to throw a quick screen to Tristan Wright. Tristan Wright is grabbed and thrown backwards. And, Matt, it looked like he had a little running room to the near side, but nothing doing. A gain of about 2 for Tristan Wright.
Yeah, you see Darlington here in this game in terms of their passing. They're going with the short, intermediate passes so far. Haven't taken a shot downfield. You got to figure with that arm that Griffin Brewster has at some point in this game, we're going to see that.
All right, Darlington with a second down, and we're going to make it 7. The ball's out to the 33-yard line on the near hash mark. Tigers up 14-0. Looking over to the sideline, not in a hurry right now. And, of course, when you're ahead, clock management also involves slowing things down so your opponent can't get the ball. Griffin Brewster calling out some signals. 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1. Takes a snap, looks to this side. The same play, Matt. And Jaquan Cox, he read it great. The sophomore, he grabbed Tristan Wright right there at the spot, and that's going to be a loss of about 1, so the Tigers will have 3rd and 8.
Absolutely, and like you mentioned, this defense has seen that play in this game enough now where they figured out where it's going to and how to defend it, and so they were able to come up with a stop. He hit his man, but there was nowhere to go with it.
All right, Darlington with a 3rd down and 8 and a 14-point lead. The line to make is the 40. Man in motion, Campton Watkins goes right to left. Griffin Brewster looking for the snap. Pressure being brought by Bowdon. He slips out of the pressure. He's going to throw the ball incomplete, and now there's a flag that comes down from the back judge here on the near side, Matt. That's usually a penalty against the defense. And it is going to be a penalty against the defense. Holding against the defense, Matt. This will be an automatic first down.
Absolutely, and that is a big one. And, of course, you had a situation on that last drive for Bowdon where penalties played a large role in that, and now they give a gift to the Darlington Tigers. All
right, Matt, with this little break, too, we want to mention thankful that Bob Berry is back tonight in the press box. Bob missed a couple of games up here, some health issues, and boy, he is the best press box person in the area, and because he always gives us the barometric pressure, And we don't always get that from all the press box announcers.
I can barely get through the day unless I have an accurate reading of what the barometric pressure is, so we really do appreciate that.
Yeah, glad to have you, Bob. Glad to have you back and healthy. All right, Griffin Brewster, 1st and 10. Colin Rogers straight up the middle, bangs somebody, and that man hangs on to him. And he's going to have a gain of about 4, and that's out to about the 46-yard line of the Tigers.
Do want to remind everybody that after the game, we're going to have the awarding of the Honeymoon Bakery Icing on the Cake Player of the Game, and perhaps one of our topics at halftime can be the specials they have coming up this weekend.
Wow, Matt, I tell you, when I think about some of the specials they have on Saturday morning, it's hard to sleep on Friday night.
I know.
All right, 2nd down and 6, man in motion. Tyler Watkins to the left. This is going to be Patrick Shelley on a Wildcat. Patrick Shelley tackled. Now a flag comes flying in from the referee. And I don't know if that's going to be some extracurricular chippiness, but Patrick Shelley lost a yard.
I think it may end up being a holding call on one of the linemen for Bowdon looking back at the replay.
Yeah, it could be. And, of course, it's an unsportsmanlike conduct. Matt, I think it was the guy who stood over him and yelled down at him while he was lying down. I think that's what it's going to be because the man who tackled him stood over him.
Yeah, he sure did.
Boy,
you're right.
I don't know what he said, but he was lording it over him.
Yeah, the officials are not going to put up with that. And, of course, one of the things that I was reading about earlier today was the game against Christian Heritage, between Bowdon and Christian Heritage. Got a little bit chippy. And I'm sure everybody here is aware of the possibilities of that happening in a game of this nature. So the officials want to make sure to calm that down as fast as possible.
All right, that's going to be a 15-yarder against Bowdon to their 39. So the Tigers have the lead, the ball, and 5 minutes left here in the first half. 3 wide outs to the near side, 1 to the far side. 2 men in motion now. Watkins comes in the slot. Colin Rogers, he's going to take the handoff. He's going to go straight upfield, pulling his way. Keep those legs moving. Wow, Matt. Powerful run by the senior.
That was a massive run there by Colin Rogers, and we've talked about this so many times throughout the year. As the game progresses, you can kind of watch him and the offensive line from the Darlington Tigers start to wear teams down. And I tell you what, there was some contact when he got going, but he just kept pushing the pile.
8-yard gain, and this is where Darlington can really put the pressure on Bowdon. If the Tigers can hold the ball, run some clock, and put points on the board after Bowdon missed that field goal to get on the board. Big block by Tate Ratledge. Colin Rogers, he got hit and stood up, but he kept going. The ball's out. The ball is out. Bowdon has it, Matt. Let's see what the referee down at this end of the field says. They have not signaled yet that it's Bowdon's ball. Well, let's see. We see it on our replay. They're talking about it.
There's a player down here for Bowdon as well, and they're having a look at him right now.
Rogers was down. I don't know when the ball came out, but the referees are talking about it. We're looking at the instant replay. He is down, but the ball, I can't see.
Yeah, you can't tell. It's screened on the replay.
And they don't have instant. Okay, that's going to be awarded to Bowdon. That is a gigantic play, Matt.
Oh, it truly is. A turnover in this football game, and certainly penalties and things of that nature are things you talk about as playing a role. And we've seen a turnover. We've seen a lot of penalties so far in this first half.
About 4 minutes left to play here in the first half. Bowdon has the ball. They get the ball to start the second half. So, Matt, they marched it down inside Darlington's 10 a few minutes ago, had a field goal blocked. Tigers are still up 14-0, but this is where the Tiger defense really has to step up.
No question about it, and good field position here for Bowdon as they get ready to start this drive, and Darlington certainly wants it to be a shutout going into halftime.
At the 38 on the far side, far hash mark, and they're going to hand the ball to number 4, and that is Fortson. He's coming back on this side on a reverse, Matt. and he got met, stood up, tackled, and dropped right there at the 38 on the near hash. So they went from the far hash to the near hash and didn't go downfield at all.
No, they didn't. The defense stood tall on that play, and that's one of the things we've seen them do throughout the season, as we mentioned to you earlier, giving up less than 10 points a game, so they get a good stop on first down.
You know, Matt, that's one thing about this team. They pick each other up. So Colin's saying, pick me up, guys. All right, McLean, he's in a shotgun. He's looking to his right. He's going to throw the ball on a bubble screen. Crash. Boom. And that was Kobe Nadeau. He read the play, Matt, and as soon as the man caught the ball, he was dropped right there. Crash.
That was a big-time defensive stop. That's going to cause a loss, bringing up a third down and close to 12 here in this situation. And that is certainly how your defense responds to a fumble football.
And that, Matt, that is just preparation right there. You know, where you've looked at film, you know the tendencies. And McLean, he threw that ball. It was a little high. If that ball's not high, Nadeau may be standing in the end zone. Okay, 2 wideouts to the near side, 2 to the far side. McLean, he's looking downfield. He's going to throw the ball. Let's see what they say. They say it was caught.
Ooh.
Boy, caught at the 46 and a half. So this is going to bring up a fourth down and about 1. So it was on the far sideline, and while the man was falling out of bounds, good throw by McNeil. This will be 4th down and 1, close to midfield. McNeil in a shotgun formation.
Trying to get him off sides.
They sure are. Darlington isn't falling for that. Darlington's already given up 1 first down on an offsides penalty, and timeout has been called by the Bowdon Red Devils. And Matt, do you have any scores of any other games?
Yeah, let me check on that for you, Steve, because there are definitely some interesting games going on tonight with playoff implications about them. One of them is the Model Gordon Central game, and at halftime, Model's up 6-0. Model's had a hard time generating offense, but their defense has played outstanding throughout the entire season. Other games going on, this is no surprise. Rockmart's up over Coosa 33-7. You have Rome over Hiram, a little bit closer than people would expect. It's 10-0 in the second quarter of that football game. Cartersville over Chapel Hill, 13-6 in the second quarter. Kell over Cass, 21-0. And I was trying to see, well, there's one we were interested in right here. North Cobb Christian and Christian Heritage playing tonight. Right now, NCC's up over Christian Heritage, 14-7. That's in the second quarter, Steve.
All right, and that's a game we're all interested in. The 4 top teams in Region 6A, Sub-Region A, playing tonight. And Astros Nationals 0-0 in the middle of the first. And, Matt, we'll talk a little bit about the World Series at halftime. But, boy, what a great postseason for the Nationals.
Oh, man, unbelievable. Nobody saw that coming.
All right, Bowdon shifting around. It's going to be a 4th down and very, very short. Looks like about a yard. McNeil under center, I formation, hands to the fullback. I think he got it. Let's see where they mark it. Yes, he got it. So Bowdon saved themselves on a 3rd and long to a 4th and short. And so the Red Devils keep possession with less than 2 minutes left in the first half. The Darlington Tigers up 14-0.
Yeah, absolutely. Bowdon doesn't want to go to the locker room without any points in this game. They've already missed a field goal. They get a big 4th down conversion there, and now the defense is asked to do some more here.
All right, big possession. Darlington rushing McNeil. McNeil is back in the pocket. He's got men on him. He's rolling to his left. He's going to throw the ball, and that's going to be intercepted by Darlington, but it's going to come back. Darlington's going to be called for roughing the passer, Matt.
That was Frank Manning who caught that pass and intercepted it, but like you say, it's not going to stand.
Boy, second roughing the passer tonight for Darlington, and that is just a mental error. You just cannot make those kinds of mistakes. There's no reason.
Yep.
Yeah,
there's no question.
He sure
about
hit
that.
him. There's no question about it. Boy, Bowdon Bowdon, the beneficiary of 2 roughing the passers. The Darlington was able to keep them off the scoreboard the last time, but with less than a minute and a half left here in the half, Bowdon with 2 timeouts left, and they get the ball to start the second half. So let's see what the Darlington defense can do, but a costly penalty for the Tigers.
Oh, absolutely. And, of course, you just had a 4th down conversion from Bowdon, and you thought you were going to have the ball intercepted and a roughing the passer.
All right, McNeil in a shotgun. He's looking to his right. He's trying to find, almost intercepted over the head of the intended receiver, Dusty Hobson. And Tristan Wright didn't see it, or he would be down in the end zone.
Yeah, this team throws a little bit, but you can tell by watching some of the throws that are being made that that's not how they're winning a lot of football games this year.
No, and you have to find Gage Stevens in a situation like that, Matt, because he was not back here. He was in the slot on the far side. That's where he is right now. And he's the one person Darlington must find on every single play. 2nd down and 10 at the 36 of the Tigers. 1:20 left to play here in the first half. Stevens, he's in a slot. McNeil's looking to that side. He is flush from the pocket, and he is going to throw the ball incomplete. And that Darlington's pressure that time, Matt, that made all the difference in the world.
Yeah,
that's going to bring up a 3rd and 10.
Yeah, he was running for his life, Steve, and he just had to kind of dump that one and threw it into the turf towards a wide receiver. But, yeah, the defense is not offering much to this Bowdon offense.
Well, the crowd on this side of the stadium, Matt, they're shaking the press box.
They know the gravity of this football game.
Yeah, and, it's a good crowd out here now when you consider how the weather was earlier.
Oh, absolutely, man. Before the game started, I didn't think there was going to be a handful of people here, but they were just waiting for it to slack off to come inside.
Bowdon's going to have to call a timeout or they're going to get a delay of game here. They couldn't get their play in. Bad clock management by the Bowdon Red Devils here. Matt, we've talked about it before about clock management, but when you are trying to go downfield, you've got to get your plays in. And here they had the clock stopped, and then they had to call a timeout. So that's one of those things that could be a big play at the end of this drive.
Absolutely, and that's the whole thing, Steve. When you have a matchup like this with 2 very talented teams, it's the little things and the attention to detail that are going to be the things you look back on in terms of who wins and who loses this football game. So very, very true.
All right, this is going to be a 3rd down and 10 with about 1:10 left. As Matt mentioned before, one of the digits on the clock is missing. So what we see are the minutes, and then the 10th or the second, we don't see the last digit. So right now we see 1:1, which tells us it's between 1 minute and 10 seconds and 1 minute and 19 seconds. So we're going to round it down to 1 minute and 10 seconds. So 3rd and 10 for Bowdon at the 36-yard line of Darlington on the near hash, and McLean's going to be in a shotgun. Find Gage Stevens because he's the one he's going to be looking for. McLean, Tate Ratledge had him, and he got away. He's going to throw the ball downfield. Incomplete. Tristan Wright almost intercepted the ball. Was that Tristan Wright?
That was Frank
Manning. Boy, Frank Manning jumped up and knocked that ball down. Dangerous throw by McLean. Tate Ratledge almost had him. Wow, Frank Manning and Patrick Shelley jumped. That's Patrick Shelley who jumped way high. Looked like Paul Bunyan.
And then the ball came out, and Frank Manning dove towards it, and you couldn't tell if the ball was under it. I don't know.
All right, 4th down and 10 for Darlington's defense. McLean, he is in a shotgun. They're trying to get their plays in, and they're going to have another timeout they must call, Matt. So here we go again.
Absolutely, and we were down to the 1 minute mark, it looks like, or 1 minute and a couple seconds here left here in the first half with Darlington leading at 14-0. If Darlington comes up with a stop here, that is a big deal, getting ready to go to halftime with a shutout.
Well, it really is, and particularly when you figure that Bowdon was inside the 10-yard line, had a second down and 5, at the 7 and never got any points out of it. Tate Ratledge blocked a field goal. Of course, the Tigers were driving and fumbled the ball inside Bowdon's 30-yard line. So, you know, these two things, but if the Tigers can stop them here, go into the half up 14-0, that is a gigantic momentum shift.
Absolutely, and of course, you know, Darlington coming up next week, going to have a road trip, face another really, really good team, and that's a tough stretch.
Yeah, it really is. Facing North Cobb Christian next week. They're number 10 in the power rankings. McNeil in a shotgun. Find Gage. Stevens, he's down here on the side. And he's going to run. McNeil trying to get to the sideline, and he is going to slide out of bounds, and Darlington had a man fall on him. And thankfully, no penalty flags.
Yes.
It'll be a turnover on downs. And that's inexperience, Matt, because McNeil had 4th down, and he slid out of bounds well short of the line to make, and that's just inexperience. He is a great player.
Of course, I was kind of like you. I was watching the sidelines just to make sure there wasn't a late hit or something like that going on, the way that we've seen the Ladre on the football field tonight in this game in the first half.
Yeah, there's been a lot of penalties. McNeil is a terrific player, but that's inexperience. You know, you've got to get that first down, so you can't slide. You have to do whatever you can to get that marker.
Well, Darlington with about a minute to work with, Steve.
All right, let's see what the Tigers do. 2 wide outs to either side. 1st and 10 at their own 30. Handoff to Colin Rogers, and Colin Rogers is going to go off the left side. He may have a yard, and he's going to be stopped there, and the Tigers will have 2nd down and about 10.
Yeah, and this is one of those games, Steve, where possessions come at a premium because this is the 4th time that Darlington's had the ball. Bowdon's had it 3 times in this game, so not a lot of possessions for each team in this one so far.
All right, Darlington up 14-0. This should be the last play of the first half. Hand off to Colin Rogers. Oh, Griffin Brewster keeps it. He's running down the middle of the field. He's going to have a 1st down, and he's going to be down at about the 42-yard line of the Tigers. 18 seconds left. Tigers still have timeouts, and they're calling one here. So, Matt, here we go.
Absolutely. 18 seconds left on the clock until we get to halftime. Tigers get a 1st down, and it'll be interesting to see with them calling a timeout here, Steve, what they decide to do with the remaining seconds of the half.
Honeymoon Bakery, icing on the cake, player of the game coming up at the end of the game. But, boy, we've got some great candidates tonight. But Colin Rogers has really been toting the rock.
Definitely so, and you know, when we were talking in the pregame, we both felt like, and that's the case every week, he has to have a big game because he's really one of the things that makes this offense go. But when you have a situation where you got the, you know, turf is wet and conditions that are not optimal, even though it looks a lot better than we expected it was going to be there for a while, we figured he would play a big role if they were successful tonight, and so far he has, without a doubt.
Well, I tell you what, I know he's disappointed about the fumble, and it was really hard to tell whether he was down or not, but the referees ruled that it was a fumble, so it'll go in the books as a fumble. But the Darlington defense did stand up after giving up a couple of penalties that gave Bowdon some yardage. But now with 18 seconds left, the Tigers at their own 42-yard line. Tommy Atha just called a timeout. And you got Fortson and Bodie. They're not playing as deep as I thought they would be. Griffin Brewster, he's going to roll to his right. The ball's going to skip into the hands of Jaquan Cox, incomplete. And Griffin trying to hit, I believe it was Hampton Watkins out here, or was it Tristan Wright?
I think he was going to Tristan Wright.
Yeah, Tristan Wright. So that's going to be incomplete. So that took 5 seconds off the clock. This might be one where you just send everybody downfield and throw it up and hope that one of your guys gets it.
Yeah, absolutely, and we have not seen a lot of downfield passing in this football game yet, so we'll see what they do.
3 wide outs to this side. Extra linebacker coming up for Bowdon. Colin Rogers slips a tackle, and he's at the 50, 40. He's knocked out of bounds, Matt, at the 36-yard line with 4.5 seconds left. Well, so here's a big decision.
It looked like he tackled the defender, Steve.
Boy, it did. It was a great play fake by Griffin Brewster. Let's see what the Tigers decide to do. I don't know if Brinson Sumner can get one from there. That would be about a 50, at least a 51-yard or maybe 52 yards.
Well,
I've seen him kick them that far in practice.
Yeah, and it definitely creates an interesting situation with that last run from Colin Rogers and getting out of bounds and having 4.5 seconds left. You do have a little bit of a decision to make here, Steve. It'll be interesting to see what the Tigers elect to do. I wouldn't be surprised to see him take a shot towards the end zone. What do you think?
Yeah, you can take a shot towards the end zone, or you can run maybe a quick down and out, maybe 5 yards to get a little closer. That might take about 3 seconds, but you don't have a whole lot of time. And with one timeout left, you can actually put it straight in the middle of the field and tell the man as soon as he catches it, get down.
Well, let's see what they do. They're, of course, right now having a meeting over here on the sidelines during the timeout, thinking it over, and here we go.
Yeah, the Tigers are going to come out. This will be a first down play from the 36-yard line, but it's not the down that's the issue here. It's the fact that there's only 4.5 seconds left. So the Tigers have to do something to get the ball downfield or some kind of trick play, a hook and ladder, something like that. Griffin Brewster looking downfield. He's going to throw the ball to a man. And he did get out of bounds. He got out of bounds before the clock ran out.
There's no doubt about it.
No, there was less than a second. There was about 0.5 seconds left when he went out of bounds. He sure did get out of bounds. I was looking at the clock.
Good pass from Brewster to Gil Maurer, and as you mentioned, scampered out of bounds, and so there should be a little time left.
There is time left, and, I don't know what the referees are going to do. They ruling it second down. I think he is, Matt, and they're trying to get time put back on the clock.
Yep.
So 1 second, 3.5 seconds. So now I think Brinson will go reaching. Let's see.
Yep, looks like it.
Yeah, this is going to be put down at the 37-yard line. This will be a 47-yard field goal attempt for Brinson Sumner, the junior. So, play clock running now. Frank Manning, here's the snap. The ball's down. It is, look, watch it, watch it, watch it! Good! Good! Holy cow! Brinson Sumner, 47-yard field goal on the last play of the first half, and the Tigers extend their lead to 17-0.
Absolutely, and that does a couple of things there. Number one, you get the points and go up 17-0. But if you're Bowdon right now, you are just absolutely deflated because you had an opportunity there to get a stop there with just a little less than a minute to play, and then some things went the Tigers' way, and they got the ball down the field and got some points, and so that's got to sting quite a bit for Bowdon.
Boy, it does, and Darlington extends the lead to 17-0 at the half. So you can unbuckle the chin straps for halftime. We're going to send it back to WLAQ. We have some commercial messages that need to be run since we haven't been back to the station in a few minutes. But we'll have some of those messages. We'll come back, talk about the first half, Honeymoon Bakery. We'll also be talking about football in the World Series later on. But don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Yesterday I got a video from Paige that he was walking on one crutch, and walking on the legs down and getting more and more flexion in his knees. So it's another weekend. Yeah, another weekend. He'll probably be getting start exercising on that leg.
How's it going, man? Good. I can't complain. Life is good.
What's that?
I said I'm the spoiler alert.
About what?
Because every time trying to get a camera down. My camera's on. Next time I'm going to see you guys. Sorry.
I didn't even notice it.
That's the next constantly. It's great.
Huh? Everything's good, man. Yeah, absolutely. Just adjusting to looking at it. You know, something new. You know, but it's cool, man. It's very cool. You can see it really well.
Randy says, "Man, they seem to be happier as the game goes on." How's Gretchen?
Oh, she's great. Yeah, I think she's out here. Yeah, I haven't seen her yet. So I haven't seen her. So I'm going to catch up with her. It's great to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you too, man. We're glad. We're glad to do it.
Wow, Matt, I'm still looking at that field goal that Brinson Sumner, 47-yard field goal, would have been good from 50. But boy, he hit a good one. Darlington goes up 17-0 at the half. Unofficially, Colin Rogers, 17 carries for 133 yards, 7.8 yards per carry. So unofficially, he's got 1,132 yards for the season, second consecutive season. He's a 1,000-yard rusher.
Oh, definitely. And, you know, that field goal in a lot of ways felt huge because obviously you got the 3 points from it. But not only that, it's one of those situations where it's another opportunity to kind of put some thoughts of doubt in the opposing team's head, and that was a big drive there for the Darlington Tigers to come away with points with not a lot of time to work with there at the end of the game. So that was a masterfully done situation in terms of coaching and managing the clock there at the end, and great execution by the football team. And like you say, Steve, Brinson Sumner, we've watched his confidence grow throughout the season, and he is quite a player, and that was one of his biggest moments so far of the season for sure.
Well, it was, and I think his grandmother, Greg's mom, was coming up this weekend, but may not have come to the game because of the weather. But I know that she listens from down in Dublin, and his other grandparents down in Cedartown, and you know they're so proud of him, and they should be. He has been one of the things this year that's helped Darlington to the perfect record. He's just very, very consistent. He's money, if you will. I don't know if we're allowed to say that in a high school football game, but he is money, really, when he kicks.
He is, Steve, and that's one of the things, and you bring up a good point, is, you know, we see them out there on the field, but it's all the hard work that goes in during the off season and then, you know, throughout the week and everything that leads up to these moments. And so when you see something like that happen, you wonder, like, how many reps has he put in to get to the point where he's comfortable getting in a game setting and doing that. And so I think that's one of the things that you can certainly say about him and the rest of this team is the work ethic is certainly there, and it shows on the field when they get out there.
Well, it does, and you know that's one of the things about this team that they just seem to be really tight-knit, but they're also hard workers and lift each other up.
They really do.
Each other up.
And you know, when you look at a lot of the scores throughout this season, there have been a lot of lopsided games, but you also had the game with Pepperell, and you had the game with Christian Heritage, and you had the game where they really had things in pocket in that Sonoraville game, but then they had to kind of buckle their chin straps and overcome losing a little bit of focus in that game. So there have been some games where they've been tested and had to overcome things. And then what you hope is that by the time you survive all that and get to the end of the season, that you're playing your best football when you get closer to November. And we're getting to that point, and Darlington's playing at a very high level right now.
They are, man. I think they're improving, and that's what you really look for. Some teams don't get better as the season progresses, but this one definitely has. And as we look at tonight's statistics, Bowdon 3 possessions, Darlington 4 possessions for the night, so that's been kind of even. Darlington actually ran 30 plays, 9 passes. Griffin Brewster 7 for 9, throwing the football tonight. 21 rushes for Darlington, so a good balance as you typically see with the Darlington Tigers. Tigers have 12 first downs, lost 1 fumble, and they had no sacks. 5 penalties for 45 yards, and I know Tommy Atha will be concerned about that. 2 roughing the passer penalties that gave Bowdon an opportunity to get down into an area where they could score points, but they were shut out in the first half. And for Bowdon, they ran 23 plays, so Darlington ran 7 more plays. They were 3 for 8 on passing, 6 first downs. Gage Stevens really was held in check. I don't know what his yardage is tonight, but he surely did not have any of those long runs that he's known for. Darlington did not punt the ball. Bowdon punted the ball 1 time, and of course, they had no sacks, no fumbles, and they had 3 penalties for 30 yards. The scoring went like this. Darlington took the opening kickoff, nice 61-yard touchdown drive, 3-yard touchdown run by Colin Rogers, and the Tigers were up 7-0 after Sumner put up the point. Then Darlington forced a 3-and-out by Bowdon and took the ball again. This time it was a 72-yard touchdown drive, capped off by a 12-yard touchdown run by Colin Rogers, and Sumner put up the point. Then things got interesting because Bowdon took the ball and went down inside Darlington's 10, made it to the 7, and on a 4th down field goal attempt, it was blocked by Tate Ratledge, and they came away with no points. Darlington came back down the field. Matt, looked like they were about to score a touchdown on that drive, but it was fumbled. Colin Rogers, we couldn't tell if he was down or not, but in any event, the referees talked about it, then awarded the ball to Bowdon, and Bowdon came back down the field, and they ended up turning the ball over on downs. Then Darlington, with less than a minute left in the half, came back down the field, managed their timeouts well, and with 1 second left, Brinson Sumner kicks a 47-yard field goal. And I mentioned the timeouts, Matt, because we did talk about clock management, where Bowdon used 2 timeouts in their last possession of the half when the clock had already stopped because of an incomplete pass. And those are just little things like that. They don't show up, they're never going to show up in the statistics of the game. But when you're watching a game, little things happen, and those things become big things.
Absolutely, and I think that, one of the storylines in this game, Steve, you were mentioning the penalties that have gone against Darlington. You also mentioned the 1 turnover that Darlington had and losing the turnover battle. They've been able to rebound for those situations and have been very resilient and just moving on to the next play. The defense has stepped up, and, let's face it, going, a full 24 minutes, a full half against Bowdon and not giving up any points, that says a lot about where your defense is. And so, they did a lot of things that added up in that first half to being up 17-0, which is pretty incredible when you look at the scoreboard and see that right now.
It is, Matt. And, I don't know if it never shows up as a turnover, but a blocked field goal, is just about as good because it is really where the ball gets turned over to somebody. So if that's counted, then the Tigers and Bowdon are even on that. But that's the kind of game we expected. We really expected both teams to come in here, play good, sound, fundamental football. And other than the 2 roughing the passing penalties that Darlington has, roughing the passer penalties that Darlington has. Both teams have played pretty fundamentally sound football tonight. The Tigers have just been able to make a play here and there where Bowdon has not.
Absolutely, Steve. And so still a lot of football left to play. You feel good about a 17-0 lead at this point in time, but there's still a full half left to go. So this is one of those games where, you know, you haven't seen Darlington create the kind of separation that they have in a lot of games this season. So it's still anybody's football contest, but you much rather be in Darlington's, just stating the obvious here, you much rather be in Darlington's position than Bowdon. But Bowdon does get the ball to start the second half, so that first drive of the second half is going to be a big deal.
Well, Matt, you're absolutely right. I've tried it both ways. I've been up by 17 at the half and down by 17 at the half, and I must confess, being up by 17 is a better feeling.
Yeah, I probably could have kept that one to myself. I'm pretty sure that all of our listeners and viewers could come to that conclusion on their own. I'll admit that.
No, it was a great statement. And, you know, you go into the locker room and your confidence is really based on that. Darlington knows, you know, that when they come out, they've got Bowdon has to score 3 times to beat Darlington right now, and they know that. And I'm sure, though, that Kevin Hunt is saying to the defense, you know, we haven't done anything yet. And so that's what they're thinking. All right, Darlington up 17-0 at the half. And we're going to come back. Matt and I were talking this week, the Washington Nationals in the World Series with the chance to bring a World Series championship in baseball to the nation's capital for the first time in 95 years.
That's unbelievable. And, you know, the thing that to me is most unbelievable about how this series has gone is with the starting pitching rotation that you have from the Houston Astros to drop 2 games, not just dropping 2 games, but at Minute Maid Park. That is just shocking to me. And it just goes to show you one of the things we've been talking about today is football teams in high school, and coaches will tell you, and I know it's kind of coach speak, but it's true, is that you want to be playing your best football when you get into November. Well, Washington is, without a doubt, they have a lot of momentum, and they're playing unbelievable baseball right at the right time, and they're up 2-0 in the World Series, which is an unbelievable storyline.
Yeah, so we'll come back and talk about that 1924 Washington Senators team for a few minutes and football. And but we'll be right back after these messages. Don't go away. We're still having fun up here.
Oops, clicked an ad. That was me.
Some scores. Some scores. Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, students, please direct your attention to the jump shot. Again, ladies and gentlemen, attention to the Jumbotron.
All right, back here at Jerry Sharp Field at Chris Hunter Stadium. Matt got some scores for us on high school football. We're keeping up with the Christian Heritage North Cobb Christian game. Next week's opponent for Darlington is North Cobb Christian as the Tigers are making their march toward a postseason berth.
And right now, North Cobb Christian, Steve, is up in the third quarter over Christian Heritage, 14-7, and that's going to be a tough team to play next week on the road.
Well, it will be, and they run the option offense that Paul Johnson made famous at Georgia Tech, and they're really good at it. And, of course, Bowdon beat them, so they're certainly beatable, but it's going to be a very tough game.
I'll tell you something funny about North Cobb Christian. This was a couple of years ago, and Robert Hortman was with me on this broadcast, but we were up at North Cobb Christian, and being a Georgia Tech fan and somebody that's seen the option quite a bit during the Paul Johnson era, I was really excited because I'm like, hey, I'm going to be able to contribute to this broadcast because I know a little bit about that particular offense. And then they come out and line up in a formation I've never seen in my entire life, and it was called the Lonesome Polecat. We would find that out later, and it was one of the strangest things I've ever seen in my entire life and really threw us for a loop. It was wild.
Yeah, and they run the offense they're running now much better than they did the Lonesome Polecat.
Yes, they do.
Well, all right. Well, Matt and I were talking earlier in the week about baseball. The last time and only time that Washington, D.C. has hosted a World Series champion. 1924, the Washington Senators, led by two future Hall of Famers, Walter Johnson, the Big Train, and Goose Goslin.
The Big Train, and there's a train going by.
And there's a train coming as we speak. But, you know, Matt, Walter Johnson had 110 career shutouts and a career ERA of 2.17. And Ty Cobb talked about the time that he first played against Walter Johnson. He said it was 1907, and before the game, the Detroit Tigers players were really giving him the business and razzing him as just a big old country boy. He didn't throw like most power pitchers who come straight over top of their arm, throw straight overhand. He threw with more of a sidearm motion, and Cobb said he stepped in against him, and he said it was the most terrifying thing that had ever happened when the ball whistled by him. And that's how fast Walter Johnson could throw the ball. But that year, he went 23-7 with a 2.72 ERA at age 36.
Wow.
And won the Triple Crown for pitching in the American League that year, which is he had the highest number of wins, he had the lowest ERA, and the highest number of strikeouts. And so he led on the pitching side. And Goose Goslin, who's only 23 years old, he's not a very well-known player, but he is in the Hall of Fame. He batted .344 for the Senators that year, hit 12 home runs. He led the league with 129 RBIs. But he had 17 triples. And that didn't even lead the league. But, back then people hit triples. To see somebody with 17 triples now would be an amazing thing.
Oh, it would be, without a doubt.
But as good as Johnson was in the regular season, he lost games 1 and 5 of the World Series, went to a 7th game. He came in relief and won it in 12 innings. He was the winning pitcher. And so it is the only Game 7 of the World Series to ever go to extra innings. But the Senators, the Washington Senators, won the World Series. It's the only baseball championship ever for the nation's capital.
It'll be interesting to see if that kind of history unfolds, but I don't think that the Houston Astros, even though they're down 2-0 with some of the guys they have in their lineup and that pitching staff, are going to roll over. I have a feeling they're going to find a way to extend this series, but we'll see what happens. I do want to mention this, though, Steve, and my mom wanted to make sure that I point this out, but I know you remember Ralph Rocket Wheeler, who was the coach of the Rome Braves for years and years, that first run, 2 different stints. Here's an interesting fact about him right now. He was let go by the Braves this past year, but he is now the manager of the Auburn Doubledays. And the significance to this conversation is the fact that the Auburn Doubledays are a minor league baseball team of the New York Penn League, Class A short season affiliate of the Washington Nationals. So Rocket Wheeler is a part of the Washington Nationals organization now.
And that is really a great thing.
It is. He's a great guy, too. I really, really like Rocket, and I know everybody in Rome that ever interacted with him just really love the guy.
You know, there's so many people in baseball. They're just great people, you know. And but here's an interesting thing. The Washington Nationals that are in D.C. now, they didn't start in Washington. They started in Montreal. They were the Montreal Expos, and they moved to Washington, I think, in 2005. But the Washington Senators that Walter Johnson played for, that franchise, moved to Minneapolis, St. Paul in 1961, and they became the Minnesota Twins. So the nation's capital was given another franchise to make up for the Griffith family moving the Senators to Minnesota. So they got a franchise in 1961, and that franchise is now the Texas Rangers. They moved out there in 1971. So interestingly, the only baseball championship in the D.C. history, that franchise is now in Minnesota, but they may win a championship with one that came from Montreal.
Who's on first? Huh?
Who's on first? What's on second? I don't know who's third. Well, that's what I'm trying to find out. All right, the players have come back on the field. The Tigers will be kicking off to Bowdon. If you're just joining us, a really outstanding first half. Darlington had 4 possessions. Bowdon only had 3. And both teams moved the ball. Both teams made some mistakes, as you would expect, Matt. And it was a game where the momentum shifted back and forth. But this is going to be a big possession for Bowdon, their first possession of the second half. They trail by 17. Bowdon, number 4 in the public school power rankings. They're going to be defending the goal in front of the A.J. Huffman Memorial Athletic Center, named for A.J. Huffman, a student in the class of 1967, tragically killed in an auto accident. His classmates helped raise the money for the A.J. Huffman Athletic Memorial Center. Darlington will be defending the left goal, going left to right on your radio dial. The goal in front of the concession stand. The Tigers will be kicking off. Brinson Sumner, who kicked a 47-yard field goal as time expired in the first half to extend the Tiger lead to 17, will be kicking off for the Tigers. 2 deep men for the Bowdon Red Devils. I believe that's Sportson and Stevens. Brinson Sumner waiting for the okie dokie. Here it goes. Toe meets leather. Buckle the chin straps. High end over and kick. Going to come down to Stevens at the 10. He's running in this direction. He's cutting up field, and he's gone through a hole. There's a flag down, and Brinson Sumner finally tumbles over him. I believe the tackle was made by Gavin Forsha, but this is going to come back.
Yep, there's going to be...
Looks like a hold. Was that a signal for a hold? Maybe that's an illegal block. You know, usually when you see that sign, Matt, it's a illegal shift, but that's... Let's see. He's going to tell us again.
Personal foul.
A block in the back. So Stevens had a nice return, Matt. He just slithered through a little hole, turned on the accelerator, but it came back, and Bowdon will scrimmage from their own, let's see where they mark it.
8-yard line.
8-yard line. So in the middle of the field, McNeil, he's the quarterback all night, and he's going to hand it off to Stevens, and boy, Dawson Williams making his case for Honeymoon Bakery icing on the cake player of the game. And Dawson's made a couple of really good plays. He just grabbed him and wrapped him up and took him backwards.
That's right, and you've got this big physical front right here from the Darlington Tigers, and right now if you're Bowdon, you've got one goal, and that is to get yourself as far away from that goal line as possible because they are in dangerous territory right now.
Let's make it 2nd and 11 for the Red Devils. They got a man out to this side, 2 to the far side. McNeil with Stevens as his halfback. Here's the snap. McNeil's rolling to his right. He's going to throw the ball complete to Fortson on a short gain. And then a nice run, so it's going to be out close to the 16. It'll be a manageable 3rd and 2 for Bowdon.
Yeah, that was a really big play there from Bowdon. That gives them a little bit of breathing room right back up against their goal line. They've got some space, and certainly opens up the playbook.
All right, the last time they had a short yardage situation, they ran to the fullback out of the I formation, and now McNeil's going to be under center again. 2 wideouts to this side. He's got a fullback. They're going to hand it off to him again. He is stood up right there. And that's going to be no gain. It's going to be 4th down, Matt, and a couple. But a nice play by the Darlington defenders.
It certainly is. And so that is going to force them to punt away from their own end zone.
You know the old saying, you run it till they stop you. But they did, but that was a 3rd down play. They really needed something on that. This is a big stop for Darlington. Shelley to the near side, right to the far side at about midfield, waiting for this punt. And, man, I can't see the number of the punter.
He's turned to the side, so I'm having a hard time seeing it.
Good snap. High kick. Going to come down to Shelley at the 44. He's running straight upfield. Now he cuts to the near side. 30. 35, 25, 24. I thought, Matt, there might be a block in the back there, but Darlington is really set up in good shape here. 1st and 10 for their first possession of the second half at the 23-yard line, 24-yard line of the Red Devils.
Yeah, things could not have gone any worse there for the Red Devils. And by the way, the punter on that play was Douglas Bell, number 27.
All right, big series for the Tigers and Red Devils. If Darlington can punch this in and go up 24-0, then that is going to be a big hill to climb for Bowdon. Darlington 7-0, Bowdon 6-1. Darlington undefeated in the region. Handoff to Colin Rogers. It's going to be a reverse to Patrick Shelley. Missed a block down here, 20, and it's going to be, he's still on his feet, Matt, and he's going to be inside the 14 down to the 12. It was a great play. Colin Rogers pitched it to Shelley, and Shelley on a 1st down run. The Tigers are in business, 1st and 10 at the 12.
Yeah, that was a big run, and you're always going to see a few wrinkles out there from the Darlington Tigers. It's just a matter of when they're going to time that, and that was perfect timing on that play. And let's see what the Tigers can come up with. This is really big, as you mentioned, getting that stop on defense, forcing the 3 and out. And that was a really important stop right there for Darlington.
Yeah, and that penalty on the block in the back really hurt the Red Devils. Brewster hands off to Rogers. He runs to his left. He's into he's down to the 1. I thought he was into the end zone.
Too.
And, Matt, he stepped toward the right, ran back to the left, danced down inside the 5 to the 1-yard line, and the Tigers will have 1st and goal at the 1 on a nice 11-yard run by Colin Rogers.
Definitely. So they have an opportunity here to score some quick points to start the second half, and Darlington can really start to take control of this game if they can score here.
Darlington going to run out of the power I. Brewster hands it to Colin Rogers. No go there. They had a couple of guys submarine up inside, bear crawling, and you can't run off tackle when there are bear crawlers. And they just plugged up that hole. And so it's going to be 2nd down. That's a loss of a half yard. 2nd down and goal from the 1.5.
Make sure to stay tuned after the game tonight for the awarding of the Honeymoon Bakery icing on the cake player of the game. And I don't think we mentioned this too much tonight, but also the Rome Orthopedic Center High School football scoreboard.
All right, Brewster pitches to Rogers. He's to the outside. He dives, and they're going to mark him short. And short side of the field, Matt, a Bowdon player is shaken up. That's number 43, Blake Thompson, and he's back up on his feet. I don't think he's feeling too good right now, and that's going to be a gain of 1 down to the half-yard line. So the Tigers having a time with Bowdon here. Let's see if the Tigers can put it in. Matt, didn't you tell me they're having pumpkin pancakes at Honeymoon Bakery?
Oh, yeah, I got a list of things that we should definitely talk about here in just a moment.
All right, power I formation. Colin Rogers, he is going to be into the end zone on a 1-yard touchdown run, his 20th touchdown of the season. And so now the Tigers have extended their lead to 23-0. Matt, the only good thing about taking so long to get in was it ran time off the clock.
Absolutely, and now with Darlington up 24-0, it'll be interesting to see what their strategy looks like for the rest of the game, because we've certainly seen them build some decent leads in games and sort of grind things out, and let's see if he can tack on the extra point and remain perfect.
Yeah, I'm sure around the region, when people are looking at this score, people are shocked. I'm kind of shocked myself here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Brinson Sumner in for the point after. Here's the snap, down, up, through. The perfect for the season is Brinson Sumner. So Darlington goes up 24-0 here early in the third quarter. We're going to send it back to WLAQ for a 30-second break, and then we'll come right back and we'll give you a baseball score. Don't go away.
Nice.
All right, back here, Jerry Sharp Field at Chris Hunter Stadium, where Darlington has just scored a touchdown. Colin Rogers, third of the night. And the Tigers have gone up 24-0 over the Bowdon Red Devils, and now the Red Devils have got to start throwing the football, Matt.
Absolutely, and that is certainly not how they've been winning games this year. So,
high end over end kick by Sumner. Stevens watches it go over his head, and it is going to bounce through the end zone for a touchback, and the Red Devils will have their second possession of the third quarter. They will start their 20. And, Matt, you were about ready to tell us about some specials at the Honeymoon Bakery, and then we got distracted by a touchdown.
You know, and my breakfast plans are set, I can tell you that. They have grits and oven-roasted home fries now, which is something they've added recently, but the fall menu includes pumpkin pancakes, French toast with pecan pie topping, and pumpkin chocolate chip French toast.
Honeymoon Bakery. All right, the ball is blown dead, illegal procedure against Bowdon. And when you go back to their first possession, Matt, and then starting this one with a penalty, this certainly is not what Coach Finley wanted to start the second half.
Definitely not. And like you said just a couple of moments ago, Steve, the fact that Darlington's up 24-0 in this game is really surprising, especially when you look at the fact that, you know, you had Bowdon giving Christian Heritage all they wanted and all we've heard about this team this year. So feather in the cap here for Darlington if they can hang on to this.
All right, Darlington up 24-0, and Bowdon struggling to get some rhythm here on offense. I formation. And it's going to be a handoff to Stevens at the tail. He leans inside, Matt, and avoided a tackler. And then Frank Manning is standing there and rolls over on top of him. It's going to be a gain of about 3 for Stevens, make it 4. But this is exactly what Darlington says. Well, if you want to do that, that's fine.
Oh, definitely. When you look at this situation, there is no doubt in anybody's mind here that Bowdon is outmanned in terms of matching up against this Darlington defense, and they are just really playing with a lot of energy right now.
All right, McNeil in a shotgun formation. He's rolling to his right, pressure in his face. He's throwing the ball downfield, complete to a man at the 37-yard line, and that was a great throw. I tell you one thing, we're going to have to see him for for 3 more years if we end up playing Bowdon. You know, next year they're going to redo the region, so I don't know what the schedule will look like. But, boy, he is an impressive young man.
He is, and was that Fortson again making that grab? Let me tell you, I've been watching some video of that young man today, and he will get up and get balls for you, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them throw to him some more throughout the rest of this game.
It was Fortson. Ben Fortson, 5'10", 180 pounds, but he can get up in the air, hand off to Stevens. Stevens going off right tackle, and he may have a half a yard. Let's see where they mark it, but not much.
No, and again, going back to that last play to Fortson, I mean, obviously it was a good throw, as you mentioned, from the quarterback, but Fortson had to leap up and grab that, and I think that's one of the things that really makes that kid special is he has got quite the leap.
Yeah, he's another one we're going to send a graduation card to
yes,
because
right.
we have seen a lot of Ben Fortson over the past couple of years. He is a really solid football player. McNeil looks like he's going to try to run an option, and he breaks past the line of scrimmage, and boy, he's got some speed. That's what we always see with Bowdon is speed, and he's going to have a first down.
Yeah, it was speed, and he also saw the opportunity, had good vision on that play and timed it just right, finding that gap. And you could see his eyes getting big and made the most out of the play.
1st and 10 for Bowdon. They trail by 24 with about 6 minutes and 20 seconds to play here in the third quarter. They're at their own 48-yard line, and they're not hurrying up very much. And, you know, you'd think if you are down like that, you would be. McNeil, he's going to hand off to Stevens, or he's faking it to Stevens. He's going to be run out of bounds at the midfield stripe. Gil Maurer was not fooled by that at all, Matt. And he and Patrick Shelley, they took care of McNeil on that play.
We're going to have some college football coming up for you tomorrow night on the radio on WLAQ. Alabama, without Tua Tagovailoa, they're going to be playing Arkansas. So that's if you're not going to have it, might as well be for that matchup, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. By the way, 2-0, Astros were ahead of the Nationals in the third inning, if you're interested in the World Series. McNeil throwing in, or going to the right. He pitches to Stevens on an option play. And Darlington pulled the ball out. That's what the Tigers are saying. Let's see. The referees have not given a signal that it's Darlington's football. Well, you know, Matt, he might have been stopped with forward progress, but he was not down when that ball came out.
Yeah.
But the referees, they have the final call.
And whatever they call initially
2
is going to stand because there's no replay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But 3rd down and 2 for Bowdon. And I have to say, Matt, if I'm down by 24, I'm not letting this much time run off the clock. All right, McNeil under center, I formation. Hands or fakes it to the tail Stevens, and he's throwing the ball in and out of the hands of 2 receivers.
I think there might have been a little bit of a mix-up there because the wide receiver that went up to grab the ball, I'm not sure if he was the intended receiver. I think they were trying to get it to Hobson, and then Jarrett Anderson leapt up to try to grab it and kind of threw off the play, unless I'm badly mistaken.
Yeah, and first thing I've seen about Stevens tonight that bothered me, that ball was faked to him, and he just stood there and watched the play. So I wondered if maybe he needed to buy a ticket so he could be a spectator. Wow, because you want guys blocking on the backside. All right, 4th down and about 2. This is a make-or-break play for Bowdon. McNeil rolling to his right, has a man stop, but he's got Tate Ratledge in his face. He's going to throw the ball complete. And, wow, makes the first down. Man came back to the ball. He had Tate Ratledge in his face. He was knocked down as he threw the ball, but it's going to be a first down for Bowdon, I think. Sure is, Matt. What a great play by McNeil.
Yeah, it is. I'm watching the replay, and like you mentioned, he came back and was able to make that grab, but you got to tip your cap to the defense because he had 2 guys on him.
Yeah, he sure did. All right, Bowdon keeps themselves alive with this drive. 4:50 to play here in the third quarter. The Red Devils trail 24-0, trying to save themselves here. I formation, McNeil under center, hands off to number 2, Trajan Bodie, and he's not going anywhere. So it's going to be a second down, Matt, 10 and a half. Let's see where they mark it.
Absolutely. And also want to remind you that the rest of the weekend we will have, obviously, Alabama football, but CBS Sports Radio, so you can keep up with a variety of things going on in sports this weekend.
You know, Matt, when I was growing up, you had one game that might be on the radio, and then they would periodically tell you about other games. But there's so much stuff now. Whatever you want, you can find out about it.
Oh, I know.
I formation, McNeil under center. He's going to fake it to the tail. He's looking back to the left. Complete. What a great throw. Complete to Hobson. Wow.
Yeah, you know, and like you've mentioned, this quarterback, Robert McNeil, he can throw a pretty darn good ball, and they utilized Gage Stevens quite a bit. But, I mean, we'll have to see what happens, because if he can keep making passes like that and these receivers keep grabbing them, they might make things interesting.
Gain of 11. So it'll be a 1st and 10 for Bowdon. And McNeil, he's going back. He's rolling. He's standing in the pocket. He's a freshman.
Wow.
So it's going to be 1st and 10 for Bowdon at the Darlington 30-yard line. Single setback is the fullback. He busts through the line. He's running to the far side. He's going to be pushed out of bounds. Well, he's still in bounds. And he's going to be inside the 20-yard line, inside the 15, down to about the 12. Now a flag comes flying in. And he was really struggling, Matt. And I think somebody's going to get called for some kind of personal foul over there. But that was number 9, Tanner Langley. And great run.
It was a great run. I don't think we've called his name tonight, and I'm starting to wonder why. But he found a hole, and not only that, there were some yards after contact there. Coach is going to be real happy about that. He just kept the wheels turning, and that was a very physical run, especially at the end.
Yeah, let's see what the referee does. They're picking up the flag, and Bowdon is going backwards. So I guess this is a personal foul, an unsportsmanlike conduct of some kind. The referee, did he signal? Maybe I didn't see it. It's not a dead ball foul because it's still 1st down. And they were at the Darlington 30. I'm confused because now it's 1st down at the 25. Okay, they're running Stevens on that little reverse. Tate was standing there waiting for him. Absolutely. He was trying to cut it upfield. Tate got off his block and saw him coming, and he Tated him.
And our executive producer, she wants to see that one again. I
Yeah.
don't blame her. That was quite a takedown there by Tate.
Yeah, he actually ran to the left and turned back around, and Gage Stevens was standing there, and he said, well, hello. So, man, what did we do without this monitor for instant replay before?
Incredible.
Was helping us clarify some things. That's going to be a loss of 2, 2nd down and 12 for Bowdon. McNeil in a shotgun. He's running option. Oh, wow, what a great play. What a great play by Colin Rogers to come up and tackle Gage Stevens on the option before he could get rolling. And he's going to be down right there at the 28-29. Is there a player down or is there a flag?
I don't see either one of those.
No, I don't either. I'm looking over here on the near sideline. But they stopped play. Now they've started the clock back. So 2 minutes and 20 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter. Bowdon's got to make something happen, Matt, because they have a 3rd down and about 15.
Yes, they do, and this is the drive right here. If Darlington can get a stop, it's not over, but it's certainly heading in that direction.
McNeil with an I formation. He's under center, and he's going to roll to his right. He's looking downfield. Oh. Colin Rogers shoots through the line and sacks McNeil. What a huge play back to the 37-yard line. 2 spectacular defensive plays in a row for Colin Rogers. Matt, I think what he's saying is, hey, I want the Honeymoon Bakery icing on the cake player of the game for defense, too.
Well, barring anything wild happening in this game, I don't think we can keep it away from him this week. He has certainly been the player of the game for the first nearly 3/4 of this football game, hands down.
He is, and it's 4th down and a mile for Bowdon. The ball is on the 38-yard line of Darlington, and the line to make is the 15. And the punter is going to punt the ball, and it looks like it went off the side of his foot. It did, and it bounced backwards. So that's a net punt of 10 yards. That's what it looked like. See where they mark it. So that's a net punt of 10 yards. So Darlington's got a 24-0 lead with 1:10 left to play here in the 3rd quarter. And Matt will, when he gets a chance, he'll look up the Christian Heritage North Cobb Christian score.
I'll go ahead and do
that. But all those Christian Heritage fans who are Bowdon fans tonight are going to be disappointed. Definitely. If this holds up to be like it is now.
Well, Christian Heritage has taken the lead, and now the score is in favor of Christian Heritage, 21-14, Steve.
Wow, so Christian Heritage up on North Cobb Christian. Griffin Brewster, he hands the ball off to Joe Marion. Joe Marion coming to the near side. Boy, he keeps his legs moving, Matt. He doesn't have the size of Colin Rogers, but, boy, he doesn't give up, and he's got a gain of about 2 or 3.
Absolutely, and we don't see him get a tremendous amount of carries, but when he gets out there, he makes the most of them, and he's certainly one of those players that throughout the season we've seen him grow and mature and get better every game that we've seen him play.
All right, it's going to be 2nd down, and he gained 4, so let's make it 2nd down and 6. 1 minute to play here in the 3rd quarter. The clock has stopped again. Not exactly sure why the clock has... Oh, he got knocked out of bounds. And so the play clock is going. Darlington needs to get this play off. And Griffin Brewster fakes it to Marion. He's rolling to his left. And he's going to throw the ball to Tristan Wright. Oh, over his head. Oh, just off of his fingertips, Matt.
And you know, Steve, we were wondering when we might see a deep ball, and there it was. And I do want to point out that Joseph Marion on that play, there was a defender that was in pursuit of Griffin Brewster, and he was able to get a block that gave him a little time to get that throw off. So that was great blocking there by Marion.
And I have to tell you, you don't want to be so critical of young men, but the Bowdon running backs do not block as well on backsides of plays as we've seen in the 3rd quarter as Joe Marion did that time.
Absolutely.
All right, 3rd down at about 6. The Tigers with 24 points, Bowdon 0, 48 seconds in the 3rd quarter. Brewster back to throw, looking downfield. He's going to throw the ball complete to Gavin Forsha. Gavin Forsha has the ball, dives forward to the 46-yard line, and the Tigers convert this to a 1st down, Matt.
They do, Steve, and again, that's the first time that we've seen Forsha targeted from his quarterback, and that's one of the things that we see with this Darlington team. They have a lot of confidence in these guys, and so just because they're not getting thrown to early in the game, that doesn't mean you won't see that later on, and that definitely is one of the things that makes them so effective.
And, Matt, he did a great job coming out of his slot position underneath the route. Brewster looking over again, same play. It's going to be out of bounds at the midfield, but what he's doing, they're running a play where Gavin Forsha is running underneath, and the outside receiver, in this case Tristan Wright, is running a fly pattern. And so he gets open over on the near side.
Well, we are just about done here with the 3rd quarter, it looks like. Yep.
All right, 3rd quarter in the books. Darlington 24, the Red Devils 0. We'll go back to WLAQ for a 30-second break, and then we'll come back for the 4th quarter. Keep the chin straps buckled. Don't go away. Well, I hope you can hear the crowd noise here. Lots of fun over here at Chris Hunter Stadium right now with the Tigers up by 24 going into the fourth quarter of a head-to-head shootout with one of the second place teams in the region. And Matt Colin Rogers continues to just be an outstanding player. And here we go in the third quarter. Bowdon ran 17 plays to Darlington's 9. And Bowdon got no points, and the Tigers ended up with a touchdown on that short field after the punt. So the Tigers are in good shape here, second down. And about 6 at midfield. Brewster in a shotgun brings a man in motion right to left. Tristan right. They're coming out on an end sweep. And Matt, he picked his way forward. He might have a couple of yards. Not a whole lot of running room there.
Well, I tell you one thing I've learned tonight, Steve, in the last few seconds is if you've got a 24-0 lead over a very good football team, the crowd can barely contain themselves. But then if you throw in the pep band playing Sweet Caroline, it works them into a frenzy.
Yes.
Everybody's losing their minds.
You see some of the foam coming out of the mouths there. Matt, oddly enough, if the score of this game and the score of the North Cobb Christian Heritage game stays the same, the Tigers will clinch the sub-region tonight.
Wow.
So Darlington will clinch it, but I don't think anybody's thinking about that on the Darlington sideline. Griffin Brewster rolling to his right, good backside block, and he's looking downfield. He's going to keep the ball, and he lowers his shoulder. He's going to be short of the first down by about a yard. And that'll be fourth down and about 1 for Darlington. 10 minutes, 50 seconds left here in the football game. I think he did stay in bounds. He did. So the clock's running. But the reason that Darlington would clinch is that Christian Heritage would have 1 loss in the region, but that would be a head-to-head loss to Darlington. And North Cobb Christian would have 2 and Bowdon would have 2.
Gotcha.
And next week is the last regular season game before the region play-in game. But I don't believe anybody on the Darlington team is worried about or thinking about clinching the sub-region. You want to win every single game because that's the way to get into the playoffs and get the best seeding. All right, Darlington is going to call a timeout here. And the Tigers, with 10 minutes and 10 seconds left here in the football game and a 24-point lead, I'm thinking Darlington's going to punt the ball instead of go for it on 4th and 2.
Well, while we got a second, if you want some scores, I can shoot some to you real quick. Model, last time we heard, was up over Gordon Central in the third quarter. Good game going on between LFO and Sonoraville. That one has implications out of 6 AAA in terms of playoffs. They're knotted up at 20. Good game between Cedartown and Troop. Cedartown was up 9-8 at the half. Hadn't heard anything about that one in a little while. Harrelson County over Ringgold, 22-8. Harrelson having a really good season this year running the football. Rockmart over Coosa, 54-7 is the score in that one. Finally, Rome taking charge over Hiram. That game was fairly close early, but now Rome's up 31-0 in the fourth quarter.
All right, and that's a rundown on the scores. We'll keep you updated on the North Cobb Christian Heritage game as more scores roll in. Christian Heritage was up 21-14. Not long ago, Tate Ratledge standing at his own 39.5-yard line. Good snap. And, boy, what a high, oh, my goodness, what a rocket. And that ball is going to bounce sideways, and Darlington is going to cover it inside the 5 at the 4. Matt, when it rains, it pours. As Bowdon, that was one they were hoping that ball would bounce into the end zone. But what a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful punt by Tate Ratledge.
Pinned them up against their 4-yard line. That was awesome, and we talked about kind of the punting difficulties last week. He's redeemed himself in that category without a doubt tonight.
Well, he has, and, you know, that, what we just saw is so typical of what he does, and he pinned Bowdon down at their own 4-yard line. 9:50 to play here in the football game. Darlington up by 24. Doesn't sound quite as good as up by 50, but we're going to take it tonight because this is a surprise. I did think that this game would be closer. All right, 1st and 10 for Bowdon McNeil. He's going to hand off to Stevens coming out to the outside. He runs into a bottleneck and breaks it out a little further, but he's not going to have much yardage. And Gage Stevens, their star running back, he has been bottled up tonight by the Darlington defense, Matt.
Definitely, and this is definitely one of those games where you can talk about how good Darlington's been on both sides of the ball, but pitching a shutout, if this is able to stand against this Bowdon team, says a lot about where you are defensively, because this is a very, very good football team that Darlington has got a handle on right now.
Well, McNeil and Stevens are two of the better athletes I've seen all season, and they're both on the same team. McNeil throwing the ball. Oh, what a catch! One-handed catch down here. McNeil throwing the ball. And let's see who that was.
Fortson.
Yeah, Ben Fortson.
You know, Steve, if it were me, I'd be throwing to him a heck of a lot more, because it doesn't matter where you throw it. He finds a way to haul it in.
Yeah, that's going to be a gain of about 20. We'll make it 18 out to the 26-yard line of Bowdon. But Fortson just got that ball in one of those big paws, and he pulled it in, and that's a great catch. It gets them out from under the shadow of their goalpost.
Definitely, and well, I'll tell you after this play.
Spread T. McNeil looked like he missed the handoff pitch to Fortson. Fortson's running down the far hash, and he's tackled right at the 40-yard line on the 4. Let's make it he's tackled on the 0 on the far side. But that's a gain of about 14. It'll be first down Bowdon.
Yeah, they pitched it to Fortson on that play, found some space. He's very fast. And one of the things that's interesting to me about him as a wide receiver, Steve, is he's 5'10". He's not a real big kid, and how he gets to some of those balls is just unbelievable.
He has great leaping ability. Mm-hmm. I'm fairly certain, without even looking at the roster, he's on their basketball team.
Oh, he's got to be.
Yeah, he really jumps, and now Bowdon's got a chance with a couple of big plays go their way. They could get 7 points, a chance for an onside kick. This thing could get interesting real fast, so the Tigers need to put the stopper on this bottle right now. McNeil, he's going to fake it to his halfback, and he's going to gain about 3. Matt, it's an interesting formation they're running now. It's a spread T is what they're running, with the quarterback in the middle with 2 halfbacks. And he's going to fake it to one and hand off to the other or keep it. And it's the first time we've seen this formation today.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that you pointed out earlier in this game. One of the things that this team does, and they're mostly a run team, is they get out there and throw a lot of different formations out to you and try to confuse the defense. And luckily for Darlington, they have definitely been on top of things tonight defensively, pitching a shutout here 4 minutes into the fourth quarter.
All right, 8:10 to play in the football game. Timeout on the field by Darlington, I think. And Matt, 2-0. Astros over the Nationals, and at the end of the first quarter, Southern Cal over Colorado, 7-3. And Southern Cal has had a disappointing season by their standards. The head coach out there is on a seat that's a little warm.
So big games coming up tomorrow. You get Michigan and Notre Dame. Looking forward to that one. And
Auburn
LSU
and LSU.
Auburn.
Yeah. Auburn hadn't won down there since 1999, but really doesn't mean anything because they're all different teams. But Tiger Stadium is going to be rocking.
Oh, I'd love to be there for that game for sure.
You know, that's going to be one of those where the cameras are shaking. All right, McNeil in a shotgun, and he's going to ride that ball to Fortson, and Dawson Williams rides him down like a steer over on the far side, and he's going to gain a couple out to the 46.
And, Steve, you mentioned LSU. I'm sure you probably saw the news earlier this week, but the tight end from Marietta, Gilbert, everybody's been oohing and ahhing over this season. He is going to LSU, and that surprised everybody because a lot of people thought he was going to go to Alabama.
Yeah, and at one time, everybody thought he was going to Georgia.
Yeah.
But, you know, Ed Orgeron is a spectacular recruiter. You know, he always has been. So that's something. Oh, it looks like he's offside here. Yeah. Boy, Hobson just wanted to get a little bit of a head start there, and that's illegal procedure called against Bowdon. And so they're going to get marked back 5 yards, and now it's a third down and about 9.
Well, Darlington Tigers going to go on the road next week up at North Cobb Christian. You can listen to that game right here on WLAQ, and also the live streaming video will be up there for you. Sitting in our nice, cozy outdoor press box. Hopefully it's not a rainy night.
Yeah. Cold would be okay.
Yeah,
no,
not cold rain.
McNeil, Tate Ratledge has him,
Ooh.
throws him down. That's it. Worldwide Wrestling, right here.
Live Atlanta Wrestling. He spun him around like a top.
Yeah, McNeil, he saw us opening, but Tate grabbed his jersey, threw him down, and that's that. And that's going to be a loss of about 5.
It's been a good day for Tate Ratledge in a lot of ways. He started the day here at school getting his All-American Bowl jersey in a ceremony, and now he's out here showing why he received that. Consistent, great play.
Yeah, and that one was just swirled him around. My. Okay, Bowdon to punt the football, line drive, kick, wobbly. Shelley gets it on the 32 coming to the near side, and he's got Fortson trying to tackle him. He misses him 50, 45, 40. There's a flag down. It'll come back. But Patrick Shelley made a good run then. And Fortson couldn't quite bring him down, just slid off of him.
We've had a nice break from the rain, Steve, and now I'm starting to see the umbrellas going up.
Yeah, we were hoping that we'd get a little window with no rain, and we did. Most of this game, it has been pretty dry, and it's not raining like it was earlier today. Wow. There were some times today it was coming down as hard as it was last week at the Georgia-Kentucky game.
Oh, unbelievable. And I'm sitting there watching it outside the office at the radio station thinking to myself, man, I hope we're not going to be watching a slot fest tonight, because I get that both teams have to play in those conditions, but you hate to see a game determined by the weather conditions.
Yeah, you really do. And, right now, boy, Tate Ratledge is just holding his hands out, looking up at the sky like, look at the rain, look at the rain. It's glorious. The Tigers up 24-0, 6:10 left in the football game. Griffin Brewster fakes it to Colin Rogers. He's going to throw the ball downfield, complete to Tyler Watkins, 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown. Griffin Brewster, 62-yard touchdown pass to Tyler Watkins. Man, I think that's his first touchdown of the year. I'm not positive. But, wow, that was a great throw by Griffin, and Tyler had gotten behind the defense, and that's a 62-yard touchdown pass, and the score is 30-0, and the Tiger faithful are really celebrating.
Oh, they really are, Steve, and this game has a lot of gravity to it, as you explained, determining what can happen in the region with the game going on with Christian Heritage and North Cobb Christian. Here's Brenton Sumner to try to stay perfect on the extra point.
All right. Frank Manning will hold for Sumner. Here's the snap. Frank gets a snap that didn't look really the best, but he got it down, and it's good. And Brenton Sumner, wow, perfect for the season. And
this is a statement game right here, man. It truly is, because this is a team that's been building momentum throughout the seasons, had a couple of close calls, and being able to get into a game like this against a team like Bowdon, how far they've come this year, and create that kind of separation on the scoreboard, not let them in the end zone, that is unbelievable.
Yeah, and, Matt, Bowdon, they had their chance. They got down inside the 10 and tried to field goal. Tate Ratledge blocked it. Then Darlington came down, looked like Darlington was about to score a touchdown to go up 21-0, turned the ball over. Bowdon got a penalty of a roughing the passer against Darlington, got down in Darlington territory, and the Tiger defense stepped up. And since then, the Tigers have pretty much controlled the game.
They truly have. And every time you say the score and every time I look at the scoreboard, and all the talk about this particular matchup, I'm just in shock right now that this game is 31-0. I thought we were going to see one that was kind of like the Christian Heritage game going down to the fourth quarter, and that's not what we're looking at.
All right, Sumner. Toe meets leather, high. This is going to be an end-over-end kick. Going to come down to Stevens at the 9. He's going to the far side, and he'll cut it upfield as soon as he sees an opening, and he does. And he is going to be tackled at the 29. I am very, very impressed with Gage Stevens. And while we while we send Ben Fortson a graduation card, we need to send McNeil and Stevens cards asking them to take up other sports.
Oh, I'm with you, man. This team has certainly got a lot of playmakers, and they have given 100% effort throughout this football game, but they've just gone up against a team that, let's face it, Darlington's a better team tonight.
Yeah, and the Tigers have done a good job staying in their gaps to limit the gashing of the running back. Stevens pitched to the tail, and he's trying to cut it back. Here's where he's so dangerous, is that the Tigers did a good job stringing that out, Matt, and Stevens did a good job of deciding to cut it back up inside, but he did not have a big gain. He's got a gain of about 8, but that's not like some of the gains he has had.
I know, and as you pointed out throughout this game, I mean, the kid's just a sophomore, so he's going to be somebody we're going to be watching for the next couple of years.
Boy, he is. And, you know, he's 5'9" and 160, but, boy, he totes the ball very well. Hand off to Stevens coming to the near side, and he has running room. He is going to be pulled out of bounds and thrown down, and the referee's going to throw a flag on Kobe Nadeau. That'll be another 15, but, boy, he looks good when he has that ball.
Well, I think that was actually Bowdon on that one, unless I'm badly mistaken. Number 2.
I think you're right. Yes, you are absolutely right, Matt. Thank you. It is good to have young eyes, and I don't have them anymore.
Well, I mean, I got my 41st birthday coming up here in a couple of weeks, so I'll probably be heading right over to the eye doctor and probably the chiropractor at the same day.
All right, that's going to be a 15-yarder against Darlington. Tigers up 31-0. I know the defense would love to keep this shutout. Because once you get down to this point, you haven't given up any points. That's a big deal for your defense. 1st and 10 for the Red Devils at the 20-yard line of the Tigers.
Big night tonight at Chris Hunter Stadium.
And stay tuned for the Honeymoon Bakery icing on the cake player of the game. Hand off to the tail. And he's going to be brought down at about the 16. And I couldn't see if that was Bodie or Stevens.
I think it was Bowdon again.
I think it was, Matt. I think it was. In fact, I'm looking to see if Gage Stevens is even out on the field.
I don't see him out there.
No, he's not unless he's in the slot over on the far side. In any event, I formation, and Neal's going to fake it to the tail. Tate Ratledge is chasing him. So is Luke Lewis. He's going to throw off the hands of his intended receiver. Actually had 2 in the same area. I'm not sure who he was throwing it to, but incomplete. Well, Matt, I want you to imagine you have Tate coming at you from behind and Luke coming at you from the front, and, you know, you don't want to be in the middle.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in life I would avoid those situations for the most part. Wow.
Well, remember last week where Tate hit that trying running back from behind, and he ran into Gil Maurer, not Gil Maurer out of the game for a couple of plays, but I thought that's like a truck hitting somebody stopped at a stoplight. All right, McNeil rolling to his left. He's looking downfield. He's going to throw the ball incomplete. I thought Fortson had it. It was a nice back shoulder throw, and the Darlington defender over there knocked that ball out of his hands.
I thought Gavin Forshaw was going to intercept that ball there for a second.
Yeah, it looked like it. 4th down, so Darlington wants to stop the Red Devils here so they can preserve the shutout. This is going to be 4th down and about 6 or 7. The line to make is the 10. And the ball's about 16.5-yard line of the Tigers. McNeil looking at his arm with his plays on it. 3 wideouts to the far side. There's some confusion on the part of Bowdon. Tate Ratledge is going again after him. And Darlington is going to grab the receiver and tackle him, gang tackle him at the 13. And Tate has been chasing McNeil all night. He's been in his face all night. Darlington gets the ball on a turnover on downs. 4 minutes to play in the football game. Tigers up by 31. Matt, do we have an update on the Christian Heritage North Cobb Christian game?
It's a final, it appears, and according to ScoreStream, which is user-based, by the way, so, I'm not 100% sure of the accuracy, but it looks like at this point Christian Heritage has won that ball game 21-20, your final.
Whoa.
1 point game.
Wow, 21-20. Christian Heritage defeats North Cobb Christian. And if that score is correct, and Matt said it is a user-based scoreboard, it might not be, but if that score is correct, then North Cobb Christian and Bowdon fall to 2 losses in the region, and this is going to be a handoff by Jack Good. Tommy Atha getting some of the younger players in right now. Handoff by Jack Good, and that's going to be a first down run for no gain. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
And, Steve, who would have imagined in this particular matchup that you would see some of these younger guys that we don't see play a tremendous amount? This would not be one of the games on the list where we would have anticipated that happening. And it's a great thing that it is happening right now because you want to do everything you can to continue to build the youth of this team.
Oh, absolutely. And Tommy Atha, he just gets guys into games. And it's going to be Jack Good on a keeper, and he's going to come out here and get tackled at the 19-yard line, but a nice 5-yard run by Jack Good, and the Tigers will have a manageable 3rd and 5, and we're about to hit the 3-minute mark. But if the North Cobb Christian score is right, that they lose 21-20, and Bowdon is losing to Darlington, then that'll sift some of the wheat and the chaff in the region tonight.
Definitely so. And, of course, at the end of the game, the Honeymoon Bakery icing on the cake player of the game. A lot of guys could qualify for it, but, man, Colin Rogers with 3 touchdowns tonight. What a game.
Man, and way over 100 yards rushing, some great defensive plays, particularly on that last possession that Bowdon had, which just let all the air out of their balloon in the 3rd quarter. And that just basically iced the game. And, if we can get a Fellowship Christian score, we will try to do that. That would be Fellowship Christian or Whitfield Academy. Those are the 2 teams that will probably win Subregion B. One of those teams would win Subregion B.
Okay, I got one for you. Fellowship Christian beat Mount Pisgah 55-14.
All right, so that means that Fellowship Christian will go into its game with Whitfield Academy next week undefeated. And so Whitfield Academy does not have a region loss, but even if they lose tonight, then they could win their sub-region by beating Fellowship Christian next week. So it will be Fellowship Christian or Whitfield Academy. And
Whitfield won 42-7 over Walker.
Wow. Okay, so 2 powerful teams meet next week for the sub-region of Sub-Region B, and Darlington will clinch Sub-Region A tonight. But that's not really where the Tigers want to be. They want to just keep on winning. And Jack Good rolling to his right. Got a man wide open and threw it over his head. That was Darius Smith, the intended receiver. And I'm wondering if Jack's eyes got so big and he just said, wow, just threw it a little over his head.
But we got a flag on the play.
A flag on the play. Is that roughing the passer? Yes. So he didn't get a completion out of it, but he got 15 yards out of it. 1st and 10 for the Tigers at the 35-yard line. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to play here in the football game. So here we go for next week. North Cobb Christian and Darlington play. The Tigers will go down there and just have to keep winning, Matt, for the power rankings as well as to win the region, possibly win the region. Fellowship Christian and Whitfield Academy will be playing for the Sub-Region Championship. That's going to be a handoff to the near side to Alan Cordero, and he is tackled in the backfield for a loss of about 5.
And we are
make it 4.
We are closing in on the 10 o'clock hour, about 8 minutes away from that, so our post-game show today will be fairly abbreviated to get you ready for Lenny B and the Big Kahuna and the Rome Orthopedic Center High School Football Scoreboard Show.
Absolutely, and if y'all have never heard that, you got to tune in. Those two have more fun than you can imagine. Jack Good hands off to the tail, and he's going to be out across the 30 to about the 33-yard line. And we're down to the 140 mark. It's going to be third down and about 10, make it 11 for Darlington.
And now that it's been going on for several weeks now, our scoreboard show, people are catching on of the switch of what station it's on now. They're getting a ton of calls with that, and especially now that we're getting towards the end of the season, man, hearing those scores gets everybody fired up because we're getting close to the playoff season.
Well, and, it's a great scoreboard show, too.
It's
and when
fun.
you call in there, you were going to be feeling better than when you called, because you can't talk to your dad or Lenny B and not just come away with a smile on your face.
Oh, they're having a ball.
All right, Darlington, third down and 11 from their own 34. Handoff to Cordero. Excuse me, it's a fake handoff. Jack Good kept the ball. That actually was Bowdon Owens. He kept the ball, and he's going to be out to about the 35. It'll be fourth down and 10 for Darlington, and play clock's going to run down close to the end of the game. There's about an 8-second differential, Matt.
Yeah, and again, I mean, Darlington is 35 seconds away from pitching a shutout against a team that came into here 6-1 and with some impressive wins on their schedule and games throughout the season. And so this is certainly a massive statement that the Darlington Tigers made about where they've come from the beginning of the season to this point, just getting better and better every week.
Matt, Tommy Atha's teams, that's what you can depend on almost every year, just getting better and better and better. And that's a sign of a great coaching staff right there. 7.8 seconds left, and fourth down. Darlington will probably punt this ball. I think that's what's going to happen. Tate Ratledge is coming out, and this may be the final play of the game. And, if Tate if he gets a line drive over the punt returner's head, that ball bounces around some. That will take care of 8 seconds, I believe. Rain has started a little bit here. And Bowdon, that doesn't look like they're really rushing. They're not. Tate Ratledge, he skied it. And it's bouncing. And if people would just leave it alone, the clock has run out, and that's going to be it. Darlington 31 and Bowdon 0. What a shock, Matt.
Very big shock, Steve. And, it's one of those games where we're coming in. We really thought we were going to see a barn burner in one of those games that was like the Christian Heritage game, perhaps going down to the fourth quarter. But if you're the Darlington Tigers, you're super glad that you're able to get some separation of the score and that it didn't become one of those football games at the end. And now you go ahead and enjoy the win tonight, but they'll get back to the drawing board over the rest of the weekend and then get back at it on Monday and get ready for a very tough test to close out the season until we get to the crossover game, of course. But North Cobb Christian is definitely going to be a team that's going to give you their best effort. They're a good football team.
Absolutely. And, Matt, we want to go on and do everything and then just turn it over?
Yeah, we've got about 4 minutes until 10, so I think we would probably both agree.
Yeah.
Colin Rogers tonight.
Colin Rogers. Oh, yeah. Colin Rogers, Honeymoon Bakery, icing on the cake, player of the game. He is a force, and not only on running the football tonight, unofficially 21 carries for 146 yards rushing, and two really, really big tackles that he had for the season, 1,145 yards rushing for the big guy.
Definitely scored a few touchdowns in this game, but as you mentioned, this award tonight is not just because of what he did on offense, it's also because what he brought to the table on defense. And those stops that he made, consecutive stops on that one drive, they were huge in terms of this game. So just a great effort tonight, great team effort for the Darlington Tigers. Congratulations to Tommy Atha and all the players on the team, all the coaches, because they've really built something special this year, and they will, like we mentioned earlier, get ready and try to keep it going next week up at North Cobb Christian. Really looking forward to that trip. It's going to be fun watching that football game.
Yeah, Tommy Atha's 149th win in his career, Matt, and can't say enough about the great job he has done over the years, but every single year just seems to figure out how to most effectively use his talent and then uses it. Real quickly, we'll just go through the scoring as we go through this 31-0. Darlington, Colin Rogers got off the scoring. He got it going with a 1-yard touchdown run in the first quarter. Sumner put up the point. It was 7-0. Then a 12-yard touchdown run by Rogers. Sumner put up the point in the first quarter, ended 14-0. Then Bowdon came back down the field. Tate Ratledge blocked a 25-yard field goal attempt when Bowdon had gotten down inside the Darlington 10 down to the 7. And then they came back downfield. Darlington with a 47-yard field goal as time expired in the half by Brinson Sumner. And I tell you, can't say enough about Brinson.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, anytime you can get through this part of the season and be perfect on your extra points, and we mentioned the field goal earlier in this game, had a really nice one last week against Tryon. He's getting better and better as the season's gone on. So to have a weapon like that and be good in all three phases of the game like this Darlington team is, I mean, this is a special team, Steve.
It is, and Tommy Atha has so much confidence in Brinson, and I understand. You know, he is just cool as a cucumber, has ice water in his veins. Great kid, too.
I don't know him personally like you do, Steve, but I've enjoyed watching this team, and this is definitely a good character team and a great team effort every single week, and their work ethic is just not going to be matched by many teams, if any.
Absolutely. And as we go through the scoring, 1-yard touchdown run by Colin Rogers, and Sumner put up the point 24-0. And then Tyler Watkins, his first touchdown of the season, 62-yard touchdown pass. He got behind the defense. Brewster threw a great ball.
And then the rain comes down, Steve.
Yeah, rain is really coming down right now, but Darlington runs its record tonight, Matt, to 8-0 on the season, 5-0 in the region. Tigers will be playing at North Cobb Christian next week. North Cobb Christian loses to Christian Heritage tonight. So with the events that come on tonight, Darlington has clinched the sub-region, but as we've talked about before, power rankings and region, winning the region is important. So next week, we'll be at North Cobb Christian. We also will be watching Fellowship Christian and Whitfield Academy because the winner of that particular game next week, Darlington will play them for the region championship.
Well, looking forward to that, Steve, and looking forward to getting back in the booth with you and calling some more Darlington football. 7-0 sounded great, but 8-0 sounds a heck of a lot better, doesn't it?
Sure does, Matt. Thanks for being with us tonight. The Rome Orthopedic Center scoreboard coming up as soon as we are off the air. And don't forget, next week we'll be on at our regular time about 7:15 when Darlington travels to North Cobb Christian for the final scheduled game of the regular season. God bless you, everybody. Have a great week. See you next week.
Yes, we did. That's perfect, man.
Yeah, we're gonna be in it for a little while. It's not gonna stop before we have to leave. Oh no! Unless the radar is wrong.
Let me pour this water on myself and then I won't notice.
So you got a flip iPad?
Yes. I would believe that.
It's weird how that happened.